Hello, my friends. Welcome to Secrets of Human Influence, Success Secrets for Creating Attraction, Success, Wealth, and Happiness. I'm your host, Dr. David Snyder, and I want to welcome you all. First and foremost, let me just say that if this is your first time in Planet David, you're in for a real treat. If you're used to 90-minute webinars where it's basically, tease, buy my stuff, you're going to be in for hopefully a pleasant surprise. My goal is always to deliver actionable, usable content that you can take out into the field immediately to create the life that you want, the way that you want it. So that being said, before we get into what I lovingly call the Dr. David Dog and Pony Show, there are a few things that I'd like us to kind of get out of the way, administrative details, if you will. I jumped on a few minutes earlier to remind everybody that this is a hands-on webinar. So if you are, in fact, things are going on in my screen here. Let me just fix this really quick. I was in gallery mode. Okay, easier to see you now. Very good. There are 3 ways to get your questions answered on tonight's webinar. A, ask the question in the chat. If I see it and it's relevant to the point in the webinar that we're touching on, then I will answer it in that moment. If your question is not directly relevant to the section that we're on, then I invite my veteran students to answer those questions, and then I will circle back and answer them as quickly as I can. So this is a very participation-heavy webinar. And what I mean by that is that in order for me to really teach you effectively, I believe you need to experience things. And so I'm going to ask you to come into everything that we're going to teach you today with a fun, playful, explorational attitude. One of the coolest things about the techniques and the principles that we're going to be sharing with you is that you don't need to actually believe in them for them to work for you. We've taken a lot of time and energy and effort to not only field test these things, but to also distill it down to a set of mechanical processes that if you just follow the process and follow the instructions to the best of your ability with a fun, playful, explorational attitude, you're going to be amazed at how rapidly people just start to believe what you say, do what you want, and are literally hanging on your every word. Today's webinar is all about secrets of human influence, and it's how to control and direct your state so other people can't do it for you. It's going to be about how to make people like, love, and trust you in as little as 20 minutes, how to overcome objections or blockages to your success that are caused by other people. In other words, if you want to get other people to follow your lead or take you seriously or do what you say, this is really one of those places where you can really get some hardcore solid gold techniques. But I want to stress a couple of things before we jump into this. A, this is your webinar. And what I mean by that is, yes, I come in every week or a couple of times a month with a set curriculum that I want to share with you, designed to give you the greatest degree of change in the shortest amount of time possible. But each and every one of you came here to this webinar tonight. You blocked out your precious time with me because there's something that you really want, something you want to get. And so what I want you to do is I want you to begin to link the outcome of getting that to the things in this webinar. And I'm going to do that through a couple of exercises that we're going to do as the webinar proceeds, but also by giving you experiences, by showing you in a Gnostic way. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that word gnosis, Gnosis, Gnostic, how these things work. Or like I was going with someone with this. You don't have to believe it, just wrap your mind around it with a fun, playful, easygoing attitude, and things will rapidly change for you for the better. That being said, A, my first disclaimer for the night. If politically incorrect language, colorful metaphors, swearing, or the word boobies offends you, this is probably not the best use of your time. The format that we follow tonight is what we call a freeform webinar. And what that means, once again, yeah, some guys are excited about that word, right? What that really means, though, is that I come in here with a set idea of what I want to share with you. But at some point during the webinar, and I'm going to give you the format in a minute, at some point during the webinar, I'm literally going to ask you, what do you want to learn today? How do you want me to customize the content for tonight so that you come away with the tools and the techniques that you need to get exactly what you want the way that you want it? Does that sound like a good place to go? Cool. All right, so a couple of things. First and foremost, if you are a first-time player, it's just your first time in Planet David, I want you to type in your name, first time, and where you're checking in from. Go ahead and type that in the chat. That's going to be important. Second thing is, if you're a veteran of Planet David, you've been in Planet David more than 6 months or more, if you've taken these skills out and used these and gotten results, type veteran in the chat where you're checking in from. The reason I'm asking that is because when you log on to a webinar, you always expect the guy teaching the webinar to have an agenda. He's going to tell you his stuff is the coolest thing since sliced bread. You should buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff because your life will change. Well, it will. But I don't want you to listen to me when it comes to the power of the techniques I'm going to share with you. I want you to listen to the people in the chat right next to you who've used the materials that we're sharing with you and made changes in their life. Okay? So are you in the right place? Well, let's find out. Okay? Let's see. What else do I want to talk about? Hey, if you're tired of hearing no in your life, if you'd like to be able to get people to believe what you say, to do what you want, to take you more seriously, to get more money in your job, to get better promotions, to write more compelling sales copy, to connect better with your spouse or loved one, if you'd like to have more spouses and loved ones in your life, this is probably a good place for you to be. That being said, if this is the scope of everything there is to learn in our webinar tonight, we have time for about this. So my promise to you is I will take you as far down this rabbit hole of influence and persuasion as I can, and then I will point you in the direction of where to go to take the next step. If that's a fair trade for you, please type in the chat, that's fair, let's do it. Cool. All right. First and foremost, let me give you a little bit of an overview of what we call the freeform webinar format. For the first 60 to 75 minutes of tonight, I am going to give you powerful, hands-on, rock-solid, street-proven techniques that you can take out into the world and ethically influence anyone you want, anytime you want. I'm going to give you the foundations of how to do that for the first 60 to 75 minutes. At about the 60 to 75 minute mark, somewhere in there, it depends on how fast we move through the materials, I am going to share with you a special program that we've put together that a lot of the techniques I'm going to be teaching you in the first segment are drawn from, and I'm going to present you the opportunity to take advantage of it and level up in your training and your skill sets if that's where you want to go. Once that's done, usually takes about 30-35 minutes. Once that is done, what we're going to do is we're going to circle back to part one of the webinar. We're going to pick up where we left off in terms of teaching, and we're going to customize the content of the webinar to exactly what you came here for. We're going to continue to teach for another 30, 60, 90 minutes, however long it is that you want me to stay. Right? As long as people are here and they're actively participating and they're learning, then I will stay on with you. Right? Now, if you're used to the regular 90-minute webinar, that's not what we do. Our content is not short. It's hardcore. It's down to earth. Nothing's theoretical. Everything in this class is going to rapidly, if you use it. I mean, I'm really good at what I do, guys. But again, I can't multiply zeros, so if you don't do the material, I can't help you, right? But if you do it, you're going to be amazed at how rapidly things change. So for those of you who have a lot of questions, 3 ways to get your questions answered. Ask them in the chat. If I see it and it's relevant to what you want to learn about, I'll answer it. If it's not relevant, then I'll ask the veterans of Planet David, the people who actually have real-world experience using these things, to go ahead and type your experiences and your answers in the chat. If that's still not enough, if you still want your questions personally answered from me, then at the end of this webinar, there will be a replay. At the end of this webinar, all I want you to do is go to the comment section of tonight's webinar. In the comments section, type your question, and over the next 7 to 10 days, I go back every day, multiple times a day, reading the questions and doing my best to answer them. I will personally answer your question. If I know the answer, I'll tell you. If I don't know the answer, I'll tell you that too, and I'll point you in the direction of where I think you can go to get those questions answered and move yourself forward. Does that sound fair? If you think that's fair, type that in the chat. Okay, a lot of activity in the chats over here. Also, just so you know, and again, I don't mean this to be mean in any way, but we do have a zero troll policy. We actually have several moderators in both our YouTube audience and our Zoom audience. One strike and you're out. Our moderators will simply, if you start misbehaving, which most people don't, we usually get a pretty good group, which is cool. If we catch you misbehaving, we think you're misbehaving, we'll just bump you out of the webinar. Okay, we just, usually we have a pretty good time. We have lots of fun with what we do. And so again, I'm just putting that out there. And let's see, what else do I want to talk about before we get into the content? I'll be good this time, I promise. You guys are funny. Let's have some fun. So my first question for you is, how many of you, by a show in the chats, how many of you would like to be 30% or more better at everything? Just by a show of hands, just type me in the chat. Okay, very cool. Here's how it works. If you maintain and hold a fun, playful, explorational attitude or body feeling, you are automatically 30% more aware, 30% more perceptive, 30% more spontaneous, 30% more adaptable, 30% more intelligent, 30% more approachable. And your counterpart, the person that you're seeking to influence, is up to 30% more compliant to you. Now I want you to think about that. All you have to do to get up to a 30% bump, sometimes more depending on what you add to it, get a 30% bump in your level of compliance from another human being is just be playful, easygoing, explorational. Okay? Now that particular phenomena, statistic specifically, comes from a rather easygoing profession. It's called hostage negotiation. Chris Voss, the guy who wrote Never Split the Difference, was quoted as saying, when the hostage negotiator is more playful, more explorational, more easygoing, more laid back, he is automatically better at his job, and his counterpart, the hostage taker, remember this guy, the counterpart, the hostage taker, doesn't have a vested interest in doing anything the negotiator wants. The guy who takes the hostages, the bad guy, is 30% more compliant. Would that be useful in the situations you find yourself in, to have up to a 30% bump in your level of compliance simply by being more playful and explorational? Would that be useful? We can absolutely make it better. A lot of activity in the chat, and that's always fun. All right, so for those of you who are brand new to Dr. David, I'm going to give you my bio really quick, and the question always comes up, who the heck is Dr. David Snyder and why should I care? First of all, I am an actual doctor of Chinese acupuncture and Oriental medicine. I graduated from Pacific College of Oriental Medicine. I've had a clinic operating in Solana Beach, California since 2005, where I've specialized in treating physiological illness that is rooted in repressed emotion. So what that's allowed me to do is I've kind of been able to look under the hood at what actually makes human beings tick. How do they think? How do they feel? What causes them to behave in certain ways? And I've been able to take those learnings from that clinical experience and apply them and combine them with the next piece in my bio, which is actually, in 2020, I was named the #1 NLP Trainer of the Year by globalgurus.org. For the past 5 or 6 years, I've been in the top 2, next to the founder, Dr. Richard Bandler. I've authored over 15 different products on various forms of human influence, everything from healing and vibrational and energetics to sales techniques, therapeutic technique, conversational hypnosis, attraction, dating, and relating materials. In 2020, also, my program Killer Influence, which you see that right here, this is a letter from Global Gurus saying that it is with great pleasure, let me see if I can make this a little bit easier to read for you guys. It is with great pleasure to announce that your training program, Killer Influence, has been chosen by global peers and ranked as the #1 best program in the world for NLP. And you can see that here. If you click on that link, you see that Killer Influence is actually ranked among some very heavy hitters. Now, why am I saying that? Because the techniques you'll be learning tonight are drawn directly from this program. So it's the cutting edge in how to influence humans to get to believe what you say and do what you want. I also have a 10th degree black belt in Ryukyu Kempo Karate, a 4th degree black belt in Shaolin Kun Tao, 2nd degree black belt in Kosho Kempo Ryu, 1st degree black belt in Fanku Ryu. I'm a certified instructor in Combat Sistema, Senkoman with Eskrima, Modern Ernest. And as you can see here, I've got more energy healing credentials than McDonald's sells hamburgers. I've been a Reiki master since before Reiki was cool. Advanced pranic, DNA, pranic healing, psychotherapy, things of that nature. I'm a practitioner of the Bankston energy healing systems as well, and several different forms of Qigong and energy healing. So people often ask me, so so what, David? So you got the black belts in the martial arts. You're certified in NLP. You're energy healing, acupuncture. What's all this have to do with influence? Or how do these things? What do these things have in common, really? And that's pattern recognition. You see, human beings are pattern-driven creatures. There is a structure to every single thing human beings do. There's a structure in the way that they move. There's a structure in the way that they speak. There's a structure in the way that they think. And when you can understand how that works, you can actually begin to perceive people's patterns and be able to predict with a high degree of accuracy what they're going to do next. Even more importantly, you can actually begin to exert, or let me rephrase that. You can actually begin to inject small changes into those patterns and create a direction for them to follow that's very organic and very natural for them. Now, that being said, I want to stress as we get deeper into the content here that nothing in this program could be construed as unethical, right? Certainly these techniques could be used that way, but it's never necessary to resort to lying, cheating, manipulating, coercion of any kind to get people to actually want to do what you want them to do. So the first thing I want you to play with is this idea of moving through the world in a fun, playful, explorational way. Okay? We call it state control in Planet David, and we devote almost a day and a half to 2 days in our influence trainings on how to control your own mind and body so that other people can't push your buttons, and so that you can actually emit an energy or a mood or an attitude that other people's mirror neurons pick up, and it causes their brain to change because of the feeling states that you're emanating. It primes their reticular activating system to process your spoken message in a very different way. Okay? A lot of really interesting questions about why I like doing this and things like that. Because for me, quite frankly, this has changed the course of my life. You see, in my worldview, the ability to get a human being to want to do what you want them to do is the ultimate survival skill in a society. Now, if you're in the jungle and you gotta be strong and agile and you gotta learn how to hunt and track, maybe these kinds of skills aren't as valuable there. But you don't live in the jungle. You live in the urban jungle, and there's a different set of rules, and everything that you get and everything that you create is based in a large degree on your ability to get people to want to do what you want them to do and to stop saying no. Are any of you guys tired of hearing no to the things you want in life? Just type yes in the chat if that's, yeah, absolutely, right? If you're tired of hearing no, you're probably in the right place. Okay, so what does pattern recognition have to do with human influence? Pretty much everything. So I'm gonna just I have a short laundry list. Let's find out if this is the material that you really want to learn about. How many of you would like to be more attractive to members of the opposite sex or even your own sex? If that's true, type that in the chat. Say yes, right? How many of you would like to stop feeling afraid or stop being insecure and move through the world radiating more confidence and certainty and just have people just following your lead because you radiate that level of leadership and charisma? Would that be something you'd be interested in doing? Would you like to make more money, book more clients, write better marketing materials, and just have more successful on a monetary or financial level? If so, you're in the right place, right? If you'd like to learn how to protect yourself from the evildoers of the world, right? The dark Jedi, so to speak, and learn how they think, how they act, and most importantly, how to neutralize them or turn tables on them, you're in the right place. I'm going to teach you, again, if you understand the core things I'm going to be sharing with you in tonight's webinar, you will know in a very, very significant way when somebody's seeking to manipulate you. Okay? If you want people to have people thinking and feeling and acting the way you want, when you want them to do it, you're in the right place. If you'd like to just be able to, if you'd like to have the confidence, and I'll tell you a quick story about this one really quick. I knew a guy once who wanted to start his own business, right? But he was afraid. He was afraid that if he left his job and started his own business, that if the business failed, he'd be stuck. He wouldn't be able to get another job. So I taught him a very special technique. We call it the interview crusher, part of which you'll learn in tonight's webinar. And what happened was he took this technique and he went out on mock job interviews. Well, he still had his job, but he went out on job interviews and he started using this interview crusher technique, right? And all of a sudden, you started getting job after job offer. One of my guys who did this actually got hired job offers from 2 people at the same time, and he was totally blown away. Another guy who had the worst outsourcing luck in history, he would use this technique. He would get hired, and like a week or a month later, 2 months later, the company would reorganize or outsource. He'd be out of a job again. He used this particular technique like 3 or 4 times to get a new job. Right? It's the interview crusher. Right? Part of that is what you're going to learn tonight. It's called the emotional bonding checklist. We're going to teach you how to do it. You're going to experience it for yourself. And once you understand it, you'll be able to have the fast track to the needs and desires of any human that you meet. Now, I'm going to caution you as we get into that. Be very respectful with how you use it, because you can get people to do things that aren't in their best interests, but it's almost never necessary to do that, and I'll elaborate more on that. So these techniques are powerful. They will change your life. You don't even need to believe that they'll work. You just got to do them. Okay? So if you'd like to nail 2 or 3 job, if you'd like to have the ability to just nail job interview after job interview after job interview, right? Type yes in the chat, right? If you'd like to surround yourself with trustworthy friends who are on the same level as you, type yes in the chat. If you ever fantasized about maybe having this Svengali-like ability to have people just under your spell, right, in a positive way, go ahead and type that in the chat, because that's where we're going tonight. Okay? So you guys good with me so far? Shout out to those people, our brothers and sisters on YouTube. For those of you on YouTube, I love you. I am speaking primarily, we're streaming from live through Zoom. So there will be a slight delay between when I see a question in your chat and when you actually get the answer. So that being said, let's just strap in. So let's talk a little bit about my personal promise to you tonight, if that's okay. Here's my promise to you. If you stay until the end of tonight's webinar, I'll show you my PowerPoint really quick, even though I don't really need to. Here's what you're going to get tonight. My personal promise to you is I'm going to teach you the fastest, most powerful, and ethical way to influence anyone to like, love, trust, and oftentimes obey you. I'm going to show you, literally, how to have people hanging on your every word, and literally how to have them salivating to do what you want them to do. I'm going to teach you in a very powerful way how to control your emotions and remove resistance to your influence. Okay? There actually are formulas that will cause people to want to do the things they just said they didn't want to do. Okay? And we'll probably pick that up on that probably towards the part 3 of tonight's webinar, because we have to lay foundations tonight. And if you stay to the end of the webinar, what you are going to get is the exact steps you needed to go from interesting information to maximum transformation and persuasion in minimum time. I'm going to teach you how to go from 0 to 60 in your life. And don't be surprised if your sales rates go up by 20, 30, 40%. Don't be surprised if the people who matter to you most, start becoming more compliant, they start paying attention to you differently. Very, very common for these things to happen. Let's see here. All right. So the first part of tonight that I want to share with you, actually, how many of you guys have something to write with? Type in the chat if you have something. If you don't, you need to get something. You need to, and here's the thing. I want you to actually physically write out some of these exercises. If all you have is your tablet and you just want to type it in, that's fine. But if you really want to get the biggest bang for your buck in the first couple exercises, writing them out is actually going to give you the biggest physical experience or mental experience of what we're going to be doing. So the first thing I want to talk about is you never enter, this is the first one. Write this down. Everything human beings do is in response to a feeling. It's either a feeling they want more of or a feeling they want a whole lot less of. Okay? That's it. Now, I know some of you are coming from an NLP world or from the Ericksonian hypnosis world and things like that, where they've divided people into visuals and auditories and kinesthetics and olfactories and gustatories. Here's what I'm going to tell you. At the end of the day, regardless of whether you think you're a visual or an auditory or a kinesthetic, when we go through these different brain regions that cause us to take an action, it always ends in a K. In other words, a kinesthetic. First you have an internal feeling, then you take a physical action. Right? Orlando Jones is asking, can I repeat that again? Everything human beings do is in response to a feeling. A feeling they either want more of, or a feeling they want a whole lot less of. That's it. You know, how many of you are practitioners of the law of attraction? Have you guys heard of the thing called the law of attraction at all? Yes? Okay. So in the law of attraction, there is this, they talk about this part of the brain called the reticular activating system. In my early videos, you'll hear me talk about the emotional refractory period, right? So whether you're talking about this phenomena in terms of the physical organ, which is the reticular activating system, or the product, which is the emotional refractory period, what that really means, does it work in politics too? 100%. 100%. What that really means is that the moment you have a change in your body feelings, the perceptual filters in your neurology change. They cause you to focus on things that are conducive and in harmony with the emotional state that you have. So let me give you an example. Okay? How many of you guys here have ever played a game called Slug Bug or Punch Buggy? Anybody? Okay. So for those who don't know what Slug Bug or Punch Buggy is, when you're a kid, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, you're sitting in the back seat of your mom or dad's car, you're looking out the window next to your best friend or your brother or sister, you look out, you see a Volkswagen Beetle, and the first person to see it and yell Punch Buggy and smack the other person in the leg, give them a Charlie horse or on the arm, they get a point, right? Daughter used to kick my ass while I was driving, so some of you remember this, right? Did you ever notice that after playing that game for a little while, and you stop playing, you get out of the car, everywhere you look, you see Volkswagen bugs, right? Or maybe you guys decided to buy a car. Anybody here ever buy a car? Type it in the chat. Yes or yes. Okay. Now, maybe it wasn't new for you. It was new to you, but maybe it was a used car. But if you're anything like my wife, you did like weeks of due diligence, right? You went from parking lot to parking lot, talked to salesman after salesman, figured out the exact car, the exact model, the exact color that you wanted, right? You finally pull the trigger on making that purchase. You buy the car, you're driving it home, right? You're just driving, enjoying your new car. You look in your rearview mirror, your side mirror. You look in your rearview mirror, and everybody in the motherfucking world bought the same car on the same day. You ever notice that? You see them everywhere. Why? Reticular activating system. Your system got so sensitized to that information that it sent a message to your neurology that automatically said, hey, be on the lookout for these things and let me know when you find them, right? Part of what we're going to be sharing with you tonight is how to tap into that system, okay? How to literally get somebody's reticular activating system to change what it pays attention to so that when you actually do speak, they process your message in the way that's most conducive for you getting your outcome. Does that make sense? Are you with me on this so far? Okay, so first rule, everything human beings do is in response to a feeling. It's either a feeling they want more of or a feeling they want a whole lot less of. Okay? Now, the fastest way to change a person's body feelings, is to change yours first. Follow me? Change yours first. Right. There will be a replay, so if you guys need to take notes or whatever, you can always go back and catch them. I apologize. I'm always excited when I first get on the webinar because I wanted, if I could literally just download this stuff into your head like the Matrix, man, I would do it in a New York minute. But I'm so excited when I get to hang out with my people that I just blurt these things out. So if I am talking too fast, just let me know. I'll slow down. But because I have a timetable that I want to keep to, because I know how attention fluctuates. I just want to get this information into you. Okay, Delilah says because your message makes the world a better place. You make the world a better place. Look, thank you for the praise and the accolades, but let me be honest with you. You're all here because you have something to share with the world. You have a vision for how your life is you want your life to go, right? Part of my mission is to help you get yours, right? I can't do all this by myself. So, if you're coaches or clinicians or whatever, you're in the right place. If you're a salesperson, if you're just here to get more dates or whatever dating leads to, you're in the right place. Okay, I don't vilify any persuasion application, because here's what I've discovered, is that when you finally get the tools to start solving those problems for yourself, you evolve. You start becoming more picky, more selective. Your aspirations and goals and desires begin to grow. If you'd have told me 30 years ago that by the time I was 38 years old, I'd be in a room 8 hours a day helping other people shovel their shit, metaphorically and literally speaking, I'd have laughed at you. Because all I wanted from the time I was 15 to sometime in my 30s was to get chicks, kick butt, and be cool. Not necessarily in that order. Okay? So, and I had a lot of challenges in my life, and I found the answers, and that's what I'm sharing with you. So this is the first big epiphany, right? Everything human beings do is in response to a feeling. Period. It's either a feeling they want more of, a feeling they want a whole lot less of. Now, strategically, you need to write this down as well. When you're entering any persuasion situation of any kind, you must first have an outcome. So let me say that a couple more times for people who are writing it down or slow. Before you enter any persuasion situation or circumstance, the first thing you have to do is you have to set an outcome. What does an outcome mean? It means, how do you know when you're getting what you want? How do you know? How do you measure if you're moving towards what you want or away from it? That one piece right there can make or break any techniques you deploy from an influence and persuasion perspective. Why? Because conversations and interactions between humans are like a stormy sea. Right? You may know where you want to go. You're the captain of a boat, right? And you know where you want to go. But the wind's pushing you one way, and the waves are pushing you this way, and the currents are moving you that way. Right? So it's not linear. It's not always a straight line. And so if you don't know what it is you want to accomplish and whether you're moving towards it or away from it, you have no idea if you're being effective or not. But if you have an outcome, you know what you want to accomplish, and you have a way to measure what you're doing, towards or away from, no matter which way the wind blows you. Think of your outcome like a lighthouse on the horizon. And no matter which way the wind blows, or the waves push you, or the current deviates you, as long as you can see this lighthouse, you can navigate and get your outcome. You can find your way to your goal. So now your outcomes don't need to be super detailed. You just have to be able to state it in very clear terms and know how to measure that. Does that make sense? So that's part one. We call that part zero. I'm going to share with you now something I call the Universal Persuasion Protocol. This is the foundation of my CPI and my killer influence systems. Many of the techniques that I'm going to share with you in the next 45 minutes or so are going to be based from this system. Okay, so are you guys ready for the next piece? Yes or yes? Okay, so for this I do have to go to my PowerPoint. All right, so first and foremost, this is what you're seeing here in this graphic is what we call the Universal Persuasion Protocol. So the first thing you want to do, you always want to control, you want to know your outcome. Let me see if I can highlight this. Oops. Know your out. Oops, that's not what I want. All right, well, that's not working. The next thing you want to do is you want to control your state. What does that mean? Remember I said the fastest way to change the body feelings of another human being is to change yours first? That's what I mean. So you have to be able to look at that situation. You have to say, okay, who do I need this person to be for them to want to do what I want them to do? And who do I have to be for that person to want to be that person? Right? So you control your state. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to get rapport, using whatever rapport techniques that you know. Now, if you're brand new to the world of persuasion and influence, you're going to learn one of the most powerful, easiest, most comprehensive rapport skills. It's also the easiest one probably that you could possibly learn, and it will guarantee rapport with other people. I'm going to teach you that. Actually, it's coming up next after we go through this. Then you want to use whatever language skills that you have to manage the state of your subject, right? So you can control your state, but the best you can do at any given moment is manage the state of other people, right? Then you want to jump into whatever process that they use and bond to their criteria and value. So if you look at this from the target perspective, control your state, get rapport, use your language, manage your state, jump into your process, bond to their criteria and values. Okay? Let's do a fun exercise together really, really quickly. This is something I do in my live events. It's going to be kind of weird here because I can't see you, so I'm going to assume you're doing it. First and foremost, I want you to repeat after me. Yes, it's a bullseye. Exactly, Miriam. And your whole goal using the Universal Persuasion Protocol is to hit the persuasion bullseye. And again, we call this the Universal Persuasion Protocol because it does not matter what context or application you have in mind. If you're in the courtroom, it'll work. If you're in the boardroom, it'll work. If you're in the conference room, it'll work. If you're in the classroom, it'll work. If you're in the bedroom or the bar room or the seminar room, it will work. The structure of the diagram, everything on the outside. Let me go back to my diagram really quickly here. Everything on the outside, these big circles right here, right? Works on anybody who sees or hears you, right? As you move to the center of the persuasion bullseye, each level magnifies the level that comes before it. But the influence gets progressively more targeted to an individual or select group of individuals who have the same values. Okay, does that make sense? So you can use this in groups. I'll just do text real quick. You can use this in groups or one-on-one just as effectively. You can use it in any situation where language is involved. This is why we call it the Universal Persuasion Protocol. What are you going to do? You're going to control your state. You're going to get rapport. You're going to use your language. You're going to use those three to manage the process of your subject. You're going to jump into their process. You're going to bond to their criteria and values. You're going to bond to their emotional values and checklists. Okay? So here's the fun exercise I'd like you to do. I'm going to say that, I'm going to repeat that Universal Persuasion Protocol out loud 3 times. I want you to repeat it with me. You guys ready? Type ready in the chat if you're ready. Because if you repeat it at least 3 times, I know you'll remember it. Okay. 1, 2, 3. With feeling, control your state. Get rapport. Use your language. Manage their state. Jump into their process. Bond to their criteria and values. Second time. Control your state. Get rapport. Use your language. Manage their state. Jump into their process. Bond to their criteria and values. One more time, with feeling. Control your state. Get rapport. Use your language. Manage their state. Jump into their process. Bond to their criteria and values. That's it. Type it. Type it as many times as you need to. You find yourself now. Hypothetically, you're out in the world, you see somebody that's interesting, you're getting ready to go into a job interview, or you have a mediation or a networking event, and you're like, how do I get people to want to do what I want them to do? First thing that should pop into your head, besides know your outcome, control your state. First thing you got to do. What's the second thing I got to do? Get rapport. Cool. What's the third thing I got to do? I got to use whatever language skills I have. We're going to help you with that tonight. What's the fourth thing I got to do? I got to use these 3 to control the state of whoever I'm talking to. Group or individual, doesn't matter. Got to use those 3 to manage the state of the target. Okay? 5, jump into the process. If you understand what internal process a person uses to make a decision, and you match it, they'll tend to follow your lead automatically. Okay? And finally, what do? You bond everything that you have to offer to the unique thing that they want most at an emotional level in their life. Control your state, get rapport, use your language, manage their state, jump into their process, bond to their criteria and values. You got it? You with me? It's a formula. Now, again, I have a whole series of trainings on this. If this is the scope of everything there's to learn, I got time for a few choice radioactive morsels. But if you accept and understand what I'm teaching you and you do them, you will be amazed at how rapidly people just like you. They fall in like with you, for lack of a better word. Okay? So that's the universal persuasion protocol. Now, obviously, I can't, in a 2 or 3 hour webinar, as much as I want to teach you, I can't give you everything. So I'm going to give you some of the choicest nuggets. There's lots more where this comes from, but these are the things that you can take out into the world right away and start seeing massive shifts. Okay? So, how many of you would like to be able to communicate with someone in such a way that they're just literally hanging on their verb? In such a way that they're literally forced to pay attention to you and they're loving it at the same time. Would that be useful? Okay. Good. Type yes, it's fine. Okay. The more feedback I get, the more I know you're with me. So what I'm about to share with you now, on top of everything else we've just covered, is what I believe is the most powerful thing you can say to any human being. It's literally the secret back door to the human nervous system. If you apply this technique, humans literally cannot not pay attention to you. And you start to generate the kind of body feelings that they've always wanted to have. And who are they looking at when those feelings come rising up? They're looking at you. Those feelings get linked in all the right ways. Okay? So, the most powerful, this is called how many of you are familiar with the echo technique? Anybody? Type it in the chat if you are. Because for those of you who are brand new, when you hear this technique, you're going to say that cannot possibly be the most powerful rapport language technique ever. Okay, cool. So, here it is. The most powerful words any human being can hear at any given moment are the words that just came out of their mouth. The most powerful words that any human being can hear at any given moment are the words that just came out of their mouth. Why? Because human beings don't live in reality. They live in a made-up model of how the world works. So, just so I understand you better, how many of you do have, again, you don't have to have any background in NLP or hypnosis or anything for this to work. Okay? This particular technique makes use of a very powerful principle that all humans are susceptible to. It's called the identification principle. Human beings are literally moving through the world looking for themselves. Okay? When you speak words, those words have passed through an incalculable number of filters in your brain based on the structure of your thoughts is the structure of your words. So when you hear your very own words coming back to you, this is the important piece. When you hear your very own words coming back to you, your neurology says, oh, they're just like me. They hear me. They understand me. They approve of me. They accept me. Now, all those things are processed below the threshold of conscious awareness. But you see, human beings are moving through the world. You guys know what a radar or sonar is, right? Yes or yes? Okay. You guys know how it works? Okay. Well, the way radar or sonar works is that they have this little signal, this little emitter that sends out little sound waves or radio waves, and they move out into the world, and they bounce off things, and they come back to the receiver, right? And what happens is the receiver takes those pulses that are reflected back and translates them into something that's meaningful to the person operating the machinery. Human beings move through the world with an idealized checklist of the way the world is supposed to be. Okay? If you ask somebody about what constitutes the perfect kiss. They actually run through a little checklist. If you ask somebody about their perfect house, they're going to give you a list of attributes and criteria. If you satisfy those criteria, the body generates a feeling that says, that's right. If you've studied any of Chris Voss's work, you know that yes isn't what we're going for, that's right is what we're going for. When you start tapping into a person's checklist, superficially or intentionally, they check the little boxes on their lists, and each time they check a box internally, their autonomic nervous system is saying, that's right, that's right, that's right, that's right. And after you, Chris Voss, VOS, he wrote a book called Never Split the Difference. And so what happens is they start to feel good. And they start to link those feelings to the source of that information, to the thing that's checking off the boxes, so to speak. So when you start speaking to somebody using the echo technique, their neurology starts checking off they're just like me boxes. They get what I'm saying. They approve of me. And it generates a very powerful, very positive body feeling in them. And they don't want to give it up. They will move heaven and earth to keep it. So let me give you some notes on the echo technique. I'm going to do a little demo for you. Maybe I'll tell you a couple of stories that demonstrate this for you. And then we're going to move on. Is that okay? What was the book? The book was called Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. And when I talk about hostage negotiation earlier, he's the same guy. Right? So is this making sense so far? Okay, good. All right, so let's look at some of these notes. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so how to get maximum attention in minimum time. Why do we want to get attention? Because attention is the currency of relationships. Okay? As long as you have somebody's attention, you have an active doorway into their mind, into their heart, and if you understand how to navigate that space, you can get people to want to do anything you want to do by showing them how to get what they want, by doing what you want. Right? It's the most ethical, honest way to influence a human being. This is literally the most powerful way for human beings to communicate, because it literally forces a person's neurology to pay attention to you more often than not, to the exclusion of everything else. It'll teach you how to eliminate the problem of making small talk and pretty much eliminates boring conversations. Anybody here hate small talk as much as I do? Go ahead and type that in the chat. Right? This will actually make small talk fun because you don't have to do you'll have to do almost none of the talking. Right? Because 80% of what comes out of a person's mouth, they'll be doing all the talking. Right? It will prime your target, it will prime your subject to keep talking and give you more and more information about themselves at the same time. This particular technique sends powerful signals of sameness to the listener, and it can cause them to become progressively more connected, attractive, and positively disposed towards you. It literally makes your listener feel heard, understood, accepted, which we call validation, which in turn raises your social status. For those of you who have a background in NLP, this particular technique allows you to match every internal filter that they have with practically zero chance of mistranslation or not being understood. So let me jump out real quick and kind of debrief you on this, okay? So do you understand? Go back to the slide? Okay. Okay. So do you guys understand what I'm saying? Again, the most powerful words any human being can hear at any given moment are the words that just came out of their mouth. Okay? The words that just came out of their mouth. In fact, back in the day, when I was living in Florida and I had my martial arts school, this particular technique was the technique I used to sign up probably 80-90% of the people who called me up asking for information. This is what I used to get them in the door and to do to get them into that introductory lesson, right? So how does this work? It's very simple. You repeat what they say verbatim. If they say, "Did you know the dog was brown?" You say, well, I didn't. The dog was brown, really? Right? Notice how much of my response to that was literally the same thing they said, right? Now, what's going to happen is when you start to use this technique, you're going to feel weird, right? Because this is not natural for us unless we're in deep rapport with people already. So you get what we call the spotlight effect. And the spotlight effect is this little feeling of self-consciousness people get when they're doing something for the first time, or they're doing something that's a deviation from what they normally do things. When you speak in a person's very own words, they hang on every word you speak. Okay? They feel understood. They feel accepted, they feel validated. All of these things make us feel good about the person echoing us. And, how many of you are familiar with loss aversion theory? You guys are familiar with that at all? If not, I'll teach you about it. It's not a problem. Type in the chat. Okay. So, for those who don't know what loss aversion theory is, let's say that units of pleasure and pain have an equal charge, right? If I find $1 on the sidewalk, I get 1 unit of pleasure, right? But if I lose the dollar that I already have in my pocket, I will experience 4 units of pain. So human beings literally have stronger emotions towards losing the things that they already have than they do about getting new stuff. Does that make sense? Type in the chat if that makes sense. How does that work in relation to the echo technique? When you start using the echo technique with a person, you start giving them the kinds of feelings they've always wanted to have when they're talking about something. Let me repeat that. When you use the echo technique, you got to use it the right way. And I'll talk about that in a minute. You literally stimulate the person to have the kind of body feelings they've always wanted to have in a communication. Now, the echo technique will work whether you're doing it ethically or not. But to use it ethically, the secret is you must come from a place of a sincere desire to understand, connect, and communicate with another person, right? And here's why. One of the things that happens from time to time, and I challenge you to try and make this happen. One of the things from time to time is that you'll use this and someone will say, why are you repeating my words? Right? And there's an old chestnut in NLP that says if somebody catches you matching and mirroring them, it'll make them angry. Well, that only happens if you stop doing it. Okay? Why is that? Because when somebody notices that you're matching and mirroring them, they want to know why. Right? There's a frame war that goes on here. In other words, the interpretation of what you're doing from their perspective versus what you're doing is different. Okay? If you come from a place where you understand that this is the way that human beings are biologically most in need of being talked to, that this gives them the greatest sense of interactiveness, then you're doing it for the sole purpose of understanding and connecting. So if they catch you on it, all you have to say is, well, I'm doing this because I want to understand you better. Is that okay? Right? And if they say no, a little flag should go up. Because who in their right mind doesn't want to be better understood, more connected with? Nobody, right? So that should be something that, again, is what we go for. We move through the world. Does it work in text messages or chat windows? 100%. This technique works any place language is involved. If it's a text, it'll work. If it's a chat, it'll work. If it's over the phone, it'll work. If it's in a webinar, it'll work, right? It'll work, again, any place language is involved, this will work, okay? Don't believe me. Just go out, have a sincere desire to connect and communicate with another human being, and when they speak, use their words to communicate with them. Okay? Now, in our CPI class and our Killer Influence classes, we have what we call the Master Echo Formula. The Master Echo Formula is ask your question, pay attention, validate the response, echo their words, ask again. If you just follow that formula, they will just keep talking. And that's the other thing I want to warn you about. If you use this, okay? If you're going to use this, and I highly recommend that you use it with everyone, whether you know them well or not. If you're using it on people who are waiting on customers, like bartenders, waitresses, clerks, things of that nature, if you use this with them, they will want to keep talking. How many of you have used the echo technique noticed that once you started doing it, the people you were doing it with would not shut up? Anybody? Right? That's what I mean. The more they talk, the more information they're giving you, the more connected, attracted, and trusting they become to you. Right? And they will fight to keep it. That's the part that's really powerful. First of all, you're letting them find the emotional dollar bill, right? And you're connecting them to it. But the minute you start to move away, now the fear of loss sets in. And they will fight to keep your attention. They will fight to have you pay attention to them. So this is a really powerful thing to be able to do with another human being. So be respectful with how you use it. So if you're playing with this, and I recommend you go out and play. Don't take anything I say at face value, especially if you're a first timer. Right? Go out, test the material. Try to get caught echoing a person's words. Does it work in texting? Yes, it does. 100%. 100%. Right? So this is how, if I were doing this over the phone, this is how it would sound. Let's say I'm a martial arts instructor, and I'm going to I'm talking to a first-time caller. So it goes something like this. Ring, ring. Hello, Coral Springs Martial Arts Academy. This is David. How can I help you? Hi, David. My name's Bernice, and I'm interested in karate lessons for my 10-year-old son, Josh. Oh, hey, Bernice. Good to meet you. So you're looking for karate lessons for your 10-year-old son, Josh? Yeah. So I'm curious, Bernice, just so I understand you better. What's important to you about karate lessons for your 10-year-old son, Josh? Well, David, Josh is a really great kid. He's super smart. In fact, he's so smart that his teachers actually moved him ahead of grade. So he's actually going into a grade ahead of where all of his peers are. And the people he's going to be in class with are much bigger and much older. And I'm afraid Josh might, he's small for his age. He's a good kid, but he's small. And I'm afraid that he might get picked on because of his size. And I heard also that martial arts was a really good way for kids to develop focus and confidence and concentration and to help protect themselves. So I was wondering if you could help me. Oh, great, Bernice. So let me see if I get what you're saying. So Josh is a really good kid, but he's small for his age, and he's so smart, in fact, that his teachers moved him up a grade, and he's going to be with kids that are significantly older and maybe a bit bigger than him. Is that true? Yeah, that's right, David. So, and also, you had heard that martial arts was good for helping develop focus and concentration and confidence. Yeah, can you help me? Absolutely. Bernice, the martial arts for many, many years has been one of the best sources for kids like Josh who are small for their age, to learn to protect themselves against much larger, much more aggressive people. It helps develop more confidence and concentration and focus, and it's a fun way for people to really learn how to stand up to themselves and be the best version of themselves. We have a special program designed to help teach kids Josh's age the concentration, the focus, the self-confidence, and ultimately the self-defense skills that they need to stand up to those bullies and really be the best versions of themselves. We have an introductory class that slot available tonight about 5:30, or we have one tomorrow at 6:15 p.m. Which time slot works better for you? Well, let me think. That sounds really good. I think tomorrow at 6:15 would probably be the best fit, because then he can have his dinner, he can do his homework, and we can bring him over. Fantastic, Bernice. I can't wait to meet you and Josh and really get him on the fast track to that confidence, that charisma, the focus, and that ability to protect himself. I'll pencil you in for tomorrow at 6:15, and we will see you then. Thank you so much, David. I'm really excited for Josh. Me too. We'll talk to you later. Take care. Click. Right? And so, what did you notice from that example? Type it in the chat. What did you notice? By the way, 9 out of 10 people show up. Used her words, 100%. Right? The secret is use their words as close to the order and sequence as humanly possible. Now you'll notice that I didn't try to match her tonality. I didn't try to speak at the same rate and speed that Bernice was speaking at. I didn't use any of that stuff that makes it harder to deploy and what NLP teaches you to do. You don't need to do that. You just need to use their words in as close to the order that they came out of their mouth. The more you can overuse them, the more you keep pressing those emotional buttons. Right? It's really cool. Right? Now, 9 out of 10 people would show up, and about probably 9 out of 10 people would sign up. I had a really big class when I was running my martial arts school, and there were literally martial arts schools half a mile in any direction that you went. I had one school down the street from me, had over 1,500 active students. It wasn't my school; it was a competitor, right? So I needed every single ace in the hole that I could get, and this was one of them. Okay, now connected to the echo technique is an extension called the emotional bonding checklist, which is where we're going to go next. And the emotional bonding checklist is where you literally open up a person's heart, metaphorically speaking, find out what they most emotionally need and desire, and then link them, bond them to your product or your service. Okay, you understand the distinction, right? In echo technique, we're just giving them their very own words, and we automatically stay in their representational systems, we stay in all of their filters, and we indirectly link to their criteria and values. With the emotional bonding checklist, what we do is we take that connection, that desire, that need or drive to find the best X for us to a deeper level. Does that make sense? But you use the echo technique to help facilitate that. Does that make sense? Type in the chat. Okay, I'm going to tell you one more story about the echo technique because it's a fun story. Back in 2012, I was hired by a security company out of Israel to go and do some coaching and some training for their VIPs, their marketing department, and their R&D people. And I love the Israeli people, but I got to tell you, they're one of the toughest audiences I ever faced. Every day I came in, it was a battle to get them to sit in the front row, right? I would have 5 rows of chairs. They'd come in as a group. They'd all sit in the last 3 rows. First 2 rows would be completely empty. I would say, can you all move to the front row? They would look at me. I said, can we all come? And they just look at me. And so I said, you know what? Just so you know, I always call on the people in the back row first. They got up as a group and all moved to the front of the room. And I taught my class. Next day they came in. I said, you know I'm going to call on the people in the back row. They looked at me like, nah. We know your game. So I had my assistants go in, take out the first 2 rows, so they were in the first 3 rows again. Every day it was a battle. But one day, I'm teaching a class. I'm teaching about the echo technique. And I'm teaching it to the R&D people. Now, I don't know if you ever work with people in R&D and multiple PhDs, professional smart guys. Their version of customer service is read the manual, right? So I'm sitting there, I'm talking about the echo technique and how it literally hacks the nervous system. It gets people to want to pay attention to you, right? And this one guy is looking at me. And the longer I talk, the more he gets this look on his face. Like, somebody farted in his oatmeal or something. He has this look. Eventually, he can't take it anymore. He stands up. He looks at me. He says, I don't believe it. I go, you don't believe it? He goes, I don't believe it. I said, what specifically don't you believe? He says, I don't believe this will work. And so, for the next 5 or 6 minutes, all I did was feed him his very own words back to him. And he kept elaborating and going off and telling me all these things. And I'm just giving him his words back to him. He never caught it. Right? He never caught it. Now, everyone around him knew what I was doing. I kept it going for about 3, 4, 5 minutes. I don't know. It usually vacillates between 5 to 10 minutes, just so people know it's not a fluke. And then as respectfully as I could, because I didn't want to get shown the door or punched, I said to him, sir, do you realize that for the last 5 minutes or so, all I've done is give you back your very own words? And he looked at me like I was crazy. And he looked at his friend to the left of him, and his friend went. And he looked at his friend to the right of him, and his friend went. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen like cartoons like Yosemite Sam, where he's like eating too much hot sauce and like the thermometer, the red rises and then steam pours out of his ears. That was this guy. He turns beet red. Looks like he's about to explode. And then he gets this defeated look on his face. And he says, "Are we really so stupid?" And I looked at him and I said, "Sir, you are not stupid. You're selfish." Everyone, every nervous system in every human being is selfish. You're moving through the world searching for yourself. Literally. And when you reflect that internal map of yourself back to the person, they can't not respond to it. And the person who's having their words fed back to them, 99 times out of 100 won't realize it's happening. And if you're doing it properly, even if they do realize it's happening, they won't care. Okay? But how do we take that further? Can we actually reach in, metaphorically speaking, to a person's heart, find out what they most want and need and desire in the context that we're interacting with them, and bond them to what we want them to do in a way that they actually want to do it? Do you think we can do that? Do you think it's possible? Damn Skippy. That's where we're going to go next. And in order for you to really get this, I need you to experience it. Would that be okay? Would it be okay for you to experience this with me? Okay. So here's, again, this is the interactive portion of tonight's program. I want you to get out a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil. And what I want you to do is I want you to write this question on the top of the page. What do I want to be able to do from applying what I'm learning on tonight's webinar? Write that out. What do I want to be able to do by applying what I learn from tonight's webinar? I want you to speak it out loud. I want you to pay attention to the answer that pops into your head. And I want you to write it underneath that question. Just write it out. Type "done" in the chat when you've done that for me, okay? Cool. All right. Now, underneath that, I want you to write another question. Similar to the first one, but slightly different. And this question is, what's it going to do for me? So, assuming you got the techniques to get what you want, and you got it, what does having that outcome do for you? What does it do for you specifically? Write down, ask the question out loud. Write the answer down. I need you to write these down, guys. As close to what pops into your head as possible. When you've done that, type "done" in the chat. Perfect. Underneath that, I want you to write this question. What's important to me about that? And answer the question. What's important to me about that? So literally, what am I going to get from applying the techniques from tonight's webinar? What's that going to do for me? What's important about that? Write the answer. Cool. Again, if you want to share them in the chat, you can, but I'm much more interested that you have it written down in front of you. Okay, beautiful. Now, once you've written that, so some people said freedom, some people said clear, sales, whatever. Now, assuming you get that, what's important about that? So literally you're going to ask the same question 3 times, you're going to get a different answer each time. What's important about that? What's important about that? What's important about that? So 3 levels down. And if you're doing this properly, remember, I'm not asking you what you're writing. I'm not asking you to tell me what you're writing. You should be noticing that you're feeling more and more emotions as you ask. True or not true? Beautiful. That's the process that you use. Now, when we come back when we come back to part 3 in the webinar, I will show you how to make this even more powerful. I will make this even more effective for you. Now, some of you said I'm feeling very emotional as you were writing this down. True? Now stand up. Now, if you're driving, don't do this. Obviously, you shouldn't be writing and driving at the same time. But if you want to participate in this drill and you are operating machinery or equipment or driving or whatever, pull off to the side of the road, find a parking lot, put the car in park, turn off the ignition, put on the parking brake, get outside of the car, and follow the instructions. Okay? I want you to stand up and take your piece of paper that you've written, and here's what I want you to do. I want you to read the answers to your what's important about questions, 3 questions. I want you to read them out loud 5 times. Read them out loud 5 times. And when you've done that, type done in the chat. Virtue, brother. I like that. True. Yep. I got off track. Go back, pick up where you left off. You should have the what's important about question written 3 times. There should be 3 separate answers. Perfect. Leslie's done. Shocked. Okay, good. Excellent. I'm seeing a lot more dones. I'm going to wait till I'm satisfied. Okay. So let me ask you a question. What happened when you spoke those words out loud to nobody but you? What happened? I was focused, chills, felt empowered, calm, sort of, okay, felt the direction, felt inspired, teary-eyed, beautiful, beautiful. Now, for those of you who may have felt a little bit of an ickiness in the background, I'll show you how to deal with that in part 3. That's the gift that you are going to give to every single person that you use this with. Let me explain that. When you use this emotional bonding checklist process with another human being, they will automatically link what they most want to what you offer if you do it in a certain way. So you think about how all of the things that you want from that list are connected to tonight's webinar. If it's okay with you, I'd like to show you how to go about getting that. I'd like to do that by teaching you about a special program I've put together to help you accelerate your success. Would that be okay? Cool. I'm not going forward till everybody agrees. Okay, perfect. All right. So, with your permission, I'd like to teach you about the Secrets of Human Influence Ultra Persuasion Mastery Home Study course. This is a special course that I created several months ago specifically for people who are having trouble getting to our live events. This is designed to be an all-in-one, all-inclusive process that will allow you to secretly or not so secretly make people like, love, and trust you, influence their ideas and beliefs, and basically erase the word no from your life unless it's something you really want to hear. This program is all about taking your life to the next level. That could be making more money, closing more deals, getting more dates, helping more people, feeling more confident, just basically winning the game of life in general. If you've ever fantasized about becoming more charming and charismatic and irresistible, this is the fast track to getting all of that and so much more. So here's what I put together for you. This offer does expire tonight, February 23rd at 11:59 p.m. So please keep that in mind. Now, keep in mind that it is perfectly worth it at full price. But what you're going to get in the Secrets of Human Influence Home Study course, it's a 24 video collection because we're using the Killer Influence UK videos. It's going to teach you how to think and act like a master of influence. It's going to teach you how to systematically become object or outcome oriented, how to control your body, control your mind so that nobody else can. We're going to teach you how to control your psycho-emotional state so you can actually influence people from across the room and nobody can push your buttons ever again. It's a $297 value. In the last training we did, we spent almost 2 days just on that. So think about how powerful. State control, by the way, is like the secret Jedi skill. You can't get caught. It influences everyone within the line of sight. And when you get really good, you can do it over the phone, through video chats, whatever. Okay? It's really powerful, and it just primes people to want to do what you want them to do, to process your communication in the way that's in harmony with their body feelings. And you gave them those body feelings, so it's all good. We're going to teach you power rapport skills, how to get rapport with people anytime, anywhere, for any reason, right? Echo technique is just the beginning of that. We're going to teach you the 7 most powerful, irresistible hypnotic language patterns that exist. Patterns that are so pervasive that you can't hear them without being automatically affected by them. One particular pattern will allow you to instantaneously direct a person's focus of awareness to focus on exactly what you want them to focus on to the exclusion of other things, to automate processes in their own brain so that they literally just start running these processes on autopilot because you told them to, right? We're going to teach you how to make anything you want seem to cause anything you want in the minds of your listener. We're going to teach you another pattern that's going to teach you how to make anything you want mean anything you want in the minds of your listener. Think about that for a moment. What if you could tell somebody something and then tell them what it means, even if those things have absolutely nothing in common? One simple pattern can allow you to do that. And because that particular structure is the same structure as a human belief, that language is processed with the same level of certainty as a belief. So they become very, very sure of what you just told them, right? We're going to teach you another language pattern that will cause anybody's internal mind movies to be exactly what you want them to be with absolutely zero chance of it being otherwise. And they'll love it. They'll feel so focused on you. They'll love listening to you and have you hanging on your every word. If you do any kind of writing, creative writing, persuasive writing, copywriting, this is one of the most powerful tools you can use to have people just buying book after book after book. If you write articles, this is something that will absolutely make your stuff a joy to read. That's just some of the patterns you'll be learning. We're also going to teach you how to manage the emotional states of others. Remember, everything human beings do is in response to a feeling. It's either a feeling they want more of or a feeling they want a whole lot less of. And so the fastest way to get a human being's feelings to change is to change yours first. We're going to show you how to do that, not just with your body and your emotions, but with the actual words and the way you use your words so that people begin to want to do the things you want them to do. They begin to internally link everything you want to what's being offered to you, right? We're going to teach you how to hijack a person's internal behavior code, how to kind of look behind the curtain at how they go about deciding to do anything and being able to fit your communication into that structure so it feels very natural and very right and ethical for them to do what you want them to do. Right? It's a $297 value. And then we're going to teach you finally, we're going to kind of elaborate even deeper on the process we talked about earlier, which is all about how to emotionally bond anyone's deepest desires to get them to actually want to do what you want them to do. This, if I could teach you nothing else today, but the echo technique and the emotional bonding process, you would literally be able to write your own ticket in this life. But there's so much more that this program offers you. Okay? You're also going to get the Killer Influence Mind Control Manifesto. It's a $418 value. It's over 240 pages, and it has chapters on other types of influence tools. Things that don't rely on language, like spatial hypnotic operators, where you sit or stand at a table, can dramatically influence the level of authority and prestige and influence that you have over everybody at it. Where you stand in relation to another human being's dominant side or non-dominant side can dramatically influence how much they like you. We'll talk about what we call object relations theory, where if you give somebody a warm drink to hold, they will look at you and process you with more emotional warmth. They will feel more emotionally warm towards you than if you gave them a cold drink to hold. right? These are the things that don't rely on language, but can dramatically give you the opportunity to psychologically position yourself in a person's mind so that they naturally want to listen to you, to obey you, to follow your lead, to trust you, that don't rely on language. We'll talk about social hypnotic operators, special hypnotic triggers that your society has programmed into you, that when society, the media, presses these buttons, you automatically take the desired action. It's a little scary at first, but knowing how to do these things is the fastest way to protect yourself from being manipulated by the media, the news agency, the government, everybody who wants you to do what they want you to do, but not for your best interests, but for theirs. We're going to show you how that works, how to detect it, how to use it, and how to counter it. Not only that, we're also going to teach you how to a special chapter called DRT. DRT stands for Dirty Rotten Tricks. Dirty Rotten Tricks are gray area persuasion tactics that you may need to pull out in those moments of need or under duress where you have to protect yourself, or understanding these techniques allows you to actually, turn the tables on narcissists, Machiavellians, sociopaths, those social predators out there. And then finally, we're going to be showing you a process called cold reading, which is the fastest, most powerful way to gain massive authority in a person's world. In fact, of all the different influence tactics that exist, there's only one category of influence tactics and techniques that don't rely on rapport to manifest, and that's authority. We'll show you how it works, how to use it, how to protect yourself against it, and to make sure that you're moving through the world from a much more enlightened, much more aware place. Okay? That's all part of the Killer Influence Mind Control Manifesto that's included with this particular video course. It's a $418 value. You're also going to get access to an online community with more than 210 active members. But as you can probably guess, total value here is $2,497, but we're not going to stop there. Just like the commercial says, but wait, there's more, right? If you grab this package now, you'll also get these special exclusive bonuses. Again, I designed this program for people who actually may not be able to get to my live events. If you can get to my live events, this will take everything you're learning and just put it on steroids. But you're also going to get our Weapons of Mass Instruction, Scientific and Seductive Storytelling Secrets. This is the neuroscience-based approach to creating powerful persuasion using story and narrative. It's going to systematically teach you how to create stories that instantly bond you and connect you to perfect strangers and make them want to spend more time with you. It's going to teach you how to craft and create stories that lead and motivate and inspire your people. So if you're leading a team, or you have employees that you need to motivate, or you're doing any kind of therapy work, these are the powerful processes that can create massive change and movement and motivation in people. We call those kinds of stories alpha stories. We're also going to teach you about another kind of story known as omega stories. Omega stories are stories that reduce the resistance to persuasion. So let me kind of explain this a little bit. When we talk about alpha stories, right? Alpha stories are stories that kind of give you more push. I always tell people that human beings move through the world with the combination of a jet engine and an anchor strapped to their back. And most people try to get further faster by putting more thrust to the engine, which inevitably creates more drag, right? But if you just cut the anchor, you take off like a rocket. Alpha stories add more thrust to the jet engine. But omega stories are different. Omega stories function by reducing the resistance to the information you're giving. Now let me give you a little metaphor for that. If I have this big old filing cabinet, right? And I need to move it across the room, I can get behind it and I can push and I can push and I can push. And eventually if I get enough help, I can push that filing cabinet across the room. That's one way to do it. That's an alpha story. But if I take some oil or some other kind of lubricant and I lubricate the floor, I can now push that filing cabinet by myself with minimum resistance. Omega stories allow you to do exactly that. And the most powerful thing about story work is that they're never perceived. What's going on with my... Okay, that's weird. They're never perceived as a persuasion attempt, right? Now, aside from that, ghosted. Hold on a second. Let me see what's going on here. That's just weird. All right, well, we'll go back to the PowerPoint. I think somebody's trying to censor me. They're trying to keep you from getting this information. All right. So can you guys see my PowerPoint? Okay, good. All right. So the last kind of story that we're going to, or the last part we're going to talk about, in addition to their absolute persuasion power, stories can also be used as a delivery mechanism for other persuasion techniques. So there's a module in this particular course called Ninja Stories. So if you've ever been in a seminar with guys like T. Harv Eker, Mark Victor Hansen, Robert Allen, Lisa Sasevich, Tony Robbins, right? And all of a sudden, at some predetermined moment, everybody in the freaking place gets up and stampedes to the back of the room to buy the courses and stuff like that. It's because in the structure of what they're teaching you, they've embedded certain persuasion tactics that prime you to behave in a certain way. In the Ninja Stories model, we actually pull back the curtain and we deconstruct transcripts from those presentations, and we show you all of the actual techniques that are being used and how to do them, so that when you go into seminars like this, you'll actually be able to detect when the stuff is being used. And if you are somebody who makes their living through presenting or public speaking or what have you, you'll rapidly be able to use these things to get people to want to become clients, want to buy your product or service, or just to learn your material better, right? Very powerful stuff, right? Let me see if am I back? Hold on a second. Oh, I'm back. Hey, I'm clear again. All right, let me go back to sharing my screen. So, aside from the ghosting moment, are you guys still with me? So, total value for this course, if you were to buy it on the website, would be $1,997. We're going to give this to you absolutely free, just for being on the webinar, just for taking advantage of the Secrets of Human Influence package. We're going to throw it in. Total combined value so far, if you were to go to the website and try to buy these things individually, would be $4,487 if you register now before the end of the webinar. But we're not going to stop there. We're also going to include one of my favorite courses of all time. This is called Renegade Reframing. It's literally how to overcome any objection or change any belief in normal conversations in seconds. Let me ask you a question. What if you had the ability, anytime somebody objected to what you wanted to do, every time they believed something that you didn't want them to believe, what if you had at least 14 different ways to instantaneously change that belief or win any argument or overcome any objection that they gave you? What could you do with that kind of power? That is exactly what Renegade Reframing is about. It's based on the work of Robert Dilts, who was modeling founder of NLP, Richard Bandler. Richard would consistently, when he was training his master practitioners, he would challenge them to try and use their NLP skills on him to try and change his beliefs or disrupt his model of the way the world works or disrupt their belief systems. And every time they would try to beat Richard, he would throw out one of these patterns and instantly knock them into confusion, instantly subvert their beliefs, overcome their objections, their resistance, everything. And after a while, Mr. Dilts realized that there were patterns that Richard kept resorting to. And he recorded these, and he studied them, he analyzed them, and he came up with a program known as, he called Sleight of Mouth. Now, this particular course is a re-engineering of the sleight of mouth process. It's done in a very fun, exciting, energetic way. It actually comes with a card game that you can play called the Reframe game, which allows you to systematically overcome and teaches you how to really get these patterns inside of you so that you can change any belief, even your own. In fact, one of the most powerful things you can do with this is list all the beliefs that hold you back and start using these reframe patterns on them. And within seconds, one of these patterns will change your belief and will actually free up and remove the blocks to your success. This is a powerful, powerful tool. I've spent the last probably 6 weeks with my coaching clients putting them through their paces. These guys are reframing Jedi. And one of the things that really happens really, really quickly is your limiting beliefs no longer stick to you, because the moment a limiting belief comes up, if you have this training inside of you, you automatically reframe the belief and you automatically gain more power and choice and control over your life. So it's very, very simple to start changing your mind and the minds of others through these simple conversational patterns. It's completely covert, and you can do it during normal conversation, usually in seconds. It's a $1,997 value. Total combined value of the package so far is $6,485 if you register before the end of the webinar. But we're not going to stop there. We're also going to include one of my flagship programs. How many of you here, just so I understand you better, how many of you here do any kind of presenting or public speaking or are content creators for your website or your blog or something like that? Anybody here do that? YouTube, whatever? If that's you, then this next course, this next free bonus is going to be a godsend. This is called Charisma on Command. We also, we actually changed the name of it to Chemistry and Conversion. What this is hypnotic presentation skills for presenters and public speakers. So much like I told you before, when you see guys like T. Harv Eker or Lisa Sasevich have people running to the back of the room to buy their products or service, if you want to have people hooked on your content, have them hanging on every word, this is the course that allows you to deploy all the things you learn in CPI-1, the Universal Persuasion Protocol, and Killer Influence from the stage on a live audience. It's not about stage hypnosis. It's about deploying hypnotic influence from the stage for the purposes of building your business, helping your students, and encouraging back of the room sales. Okay? I've said this many times. I'll say it again. One of the fastest, most effective ways to build your business is through public speaking. To get in front of a group of people who have a problem that you have a solution for, demonstrate your skills in an entertaining, educational, empowering way, and giving them the opportunity to take that relationship with you to the next level. It's how I built my business. It's why most of you are here and have spent any amount of time in Planet David. In this course, I'm going to teach you systematically 2 systems of presentation. One designed for large groups, one designed for small groups. If you're a chiropractor, a physician of any kind, dentist, that small group presentation model is worth its weight in gold. The large group presentation model, if you speak to large groups, 40, 50, 100, 400 people, this particular model will teach you how to create a presentation that on multiple levels at the same time primes and programs your audience to see how the talk is relevant to them, how you are the person who can deliver the results they're looking for, and make them salivate and want to take the next step with you. We call it persuasion architecture. There's about 12 different ways that you can use stories. We're also going to teach you basic stagecraft, how to hold a microphone, how to spatially anchor things, how to move on stage in such a way that you're not cutting yourself off and gaining maximum rapport with that audience. We'll teach you attention patterns. In other words, how does the attention in an audience actually shift based on where you are on the stage, right? We're going to deconstruct the talks of T. Harv Eker, like we talked about in the storytelling course, so you can understand what these things look and sound like from the stage. We're going to teach you how to take all of that content, how to position yourself, position your talk, position your audience, position your offer, how to create an offer that makes people salivate for the results that you're offering them, all ethically and honestly. And there's actually a whole lot more that we're going to teach you, because we're also going to teach you how to take the content that you've created and repurpose it for YouTube, for Instagram, for how to use meetup.com to build your tribe. All these things are included in this one course, right? It's a $1,997 value. We're going to give it to you absolutely free, because now that we're coming out of COVID, now that all of us have been forced in one way or another to do things online, we need a tool, we need a set of tools that allow us to be able to get in front of a group of live human beings or in front of a group of video-based human beings and create a powerful, compelling, exciting, entertaining, and educational presentation that makes people want to take the next step. If you're looking for a way to build your business with the least amount of investment, there's nothing that will do it faster than public speaking. I highly, highly recommend this course. If you don't get any other course, but this one can change your whole life. It's a $1,997 value. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. And for those of you who are interested, we're actually doing a live version of this training in July out in Las Vegas, where you can come and actually get feedback from your presentation. We'll actually put you on stage and actually give you feedback and hands-on training in how to do these things live and in person. Total value is $8,481 if you register for the package before the end of the webinar. So let's just recap really quick what we're looking at. We're looking at the 24 video 7-stage universal persuasion protocols with the Mind Control Manifesto 241-page manual and the online community with over 210 active members. Total value is $2,497. We're also going to include the Weapons of Mass Instruction Neuroscientific Storytelling Secrets, $1,997 value. Comes with a manual as well. The Renegade Reframing, Objection, Obliteration, and Speed Conversational Belief Change Home Study Course, $1,997 value. And of course, the Charisma on Command Hypnotic Presentation Skills for Presenters and Public Speakers, valued at $1,997. Total value, if you were going to go to the website today and try to buy these things individually, it would cost you about $8,481. But as you can probably guess, we want to give you the best deal humanly possible today. And so for today only, you're not going to have to pay $8,481. We're not even going to charge you $6,347. We're going to keep dropping it. We're going to drop it down to $5,347. But you know what? That's still too much for today's offer. We're not even going to charge you $3,347 or $2,347. If you want this program, if you want to take your life to the next level, if you want to have people hanging on your every word, if you want the master keys to getting the life you want the way that you want it, we're not even going to charge you $2,347. You can get it all. Everything on that list, that little list of the paper you wrote out, what you want, what it's going to do for you, you can get it all for one low investment of just $997. And if you need a little help, you can break that up into 3 easy installments of just $397 each. All you got to do to get yours now is go to www.killerinfluence.com/go. That's www.killerinfluence.com/go. Hold on a second here. If you have questions about any of these things, you can reach out to my administrative goddess, Stephanie Leston-Skiba, at stephanie@nlppower.com. And if you need to talk to her in person, you can call her at 858-282-4663. That's 858-282-4663. Now, some of you who have been bopping around Planet David for a while may have some of these courses. If that's the case, we will in fact let you substitute or swap out courses that you may already have, so you can customize the program even further for yourself. All you got to do is let Stephanie know at 858-282-4663. So you just click that link in your list. There's a 3-month payment. There's a 3-month payment plan available, $397 a month for 3 months. Right now, lest ye wonder, everything in this program, everything in this package comes with a 60-day satisfaction guarantee, money-back guarantee. You have absolutely nothing to risk. Take the Secrets of Human Influence program. Use it, practice it, apply it for 60 days. If you have questions, call us and let us walk you through the sticking points. If after 60 days you're not on the fast track to making more money, closing more deals, reaching financial freedom, if you're not getting the love you want the way you want it, if the relationships in your life are not bearing the fruit you want based on the promises and the predictions we've made, if you're not on the fast track to winning any social encounter, being more irresistible in your life, if you're not satisfied in any way, I will refund your money. You have absolutely nothing to risk here. Again, everything works for somebody, nothing works for everybody. But this is as close as it gets. I promise you, if you apply these skills, your life will change. And it will change drastically and for the better. In fact, my prediction is you're only going to get better. It's only going to get stronger. I'll warn you, these are not light materials. When I mean light, I mean there's a lot of information. A lot of information. But the beautiful part about this particular protocol, this particular, let me jump off my PowerPoint for a second here really quick. You know, one of the beautiful things about influence and persuasion, you know, like I said, if this is the scope of everything that there is, just a little bit of information applied the right way can change your life. If you have the whole system, nothing can stop you. Nothing. Not your mindset, not your skill set, not other people's resistances, nothing. Persuasion and influence is the ultimate survival skill set. If you want to survive and thrive in a society, this is the way to do it. And you have absolutely nothing to risk from doing it. Take the program, apply it for 60 days. If you have questions, pick up the phone or send us an email. We'll walk you through the sticking points. If after those 60 days it's not working, pick up the phone, we'll refund your money. Doesn't get any simpler than that, doesn't get any safer than that. Okay? But for those of you who are what I love to call action takers or early adopters, you know, go to www.killerinfluence.com/go and just click through, and your stuff will be automatically loaded into your account on NLPpower.com or davidsnyder.nlp.com. For those of you who are fast action takers, if all this wasn't good enough, with some of the most amazing courses I've ever created, the most powerful courses. And remember, I got to be honest with you, I didn't create those courses for you. I created them for me. Because I had problems and I had areas in my life that I wanted to win, and I needed to find an answer. And this was my answer. Okay? So if you grab your course before today, February 23rd, 2022, sorry for the typo, 11:59 p.m., we're also going to include these fast action bonuses for you. Fast action bonus number 1. We're going to give you a 3-month trial membership to the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program. This is a program that I have been running on the 3rd Saturday of every month since October of 2010. On the 3rd Saturday of every month, I literally show up in person and online and I say, Steve, what do you want to learn? Jesse, what do you want to learn? John, what do you want to learn? Seth, what do you want to learn? Holly, what do you want to learn? And I literally write down what you want to learn. I look at how they all connect. I create a lesson plan on the spot, and then for the next 4 hours, I drill you on those skills until you can do them in your sleep. At the end of those 4 hours, you go out into the world to apply those skills. You will not get a certificate from the NLP Power Mastermind. What you will get is the one thing that makes the difference, and that's the hands-on skills. Okay? You'll get the ability to roll your sleeves up with people who have the same interests, the same desires that you do. You'll be able to hang out with people who are interested in doing cool stuff with cool people just like you, and you'll be able to hone your skills for real-world applications. But it doesn't stop there. If after 3 months you're not liking it, quit. If you want to stay after 3 months, let Stephanie know. We'll tell you how to do that. But one of the things I want you to know is that we have videotaped every single mastermind session since October of 2010. And we have archived those videos on our NLP Power websites, on our YouTube channels, and on our private Facebook page. As a mastermind member, you will get unfettered access to the entire 11-year archive. You'll be able to, content that's never been seen on YouTube, it's never been released as a product, you'll be able to binge watch that stuff to your heart's content. And it covers everything from dating and attraction, sales and marketing, therapy, energy healing, law of attraction, accelerated learning, performance enhancement, any mind, magic, manifestation, you name it, it's there because there's no holds barred. There's no content that's off limits when it comes to the mastermind. It's all about practical skills. For the 3 months, you can binge watch thousands of hours of content. It's a $1,597 value. We're going to give it to you absolutely free if you're one of the next few people to join. Total combined value of everything we've got so far is $10,078. But we're not going to stop there because where there's a fast action bonus 1, there's a fast action bonus too. For those of you who actually want to get started even faster, I'm going to give you a free copy of my Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course. Now, STEALTH is an acronym. It stands for Strategic Suggestion Through Emotionally Amplified Linguistically Transmitted Hypnosis. Yes, there is an actual acronym for this. It's a $997 value, and what it does for you, it's going to teach you in a quick and dirty format the 7 most powerful language patterns, the 3 magic questions protocol that allows you to go from stranger to intimacy in as little as 20 minutes. It's going to teach you instant and rapid inductions. There's one video in there called Instant Inductions Made Easy. You'll learn 6 or 7 different instant inductions that you can go out into the world and just start hypnotizing people right off the bat. I believe there's also a course in there called Anchors in Action, which allows you to emotionally anchor states to people so that you can trigger them anytime you want. And there's also a 6-video course in there. John Joe's saying stealth changed my life, period. Yes. It comes with transcripts. It comes with workbooks. If there was a fast track to being an unstoppable master of conversational hypnosis and hypnotic influence, this is the course. It's a $997 value. We're going to give it to you absolutely free if you're one of the first fast action takers to click that link right now and grab your course. So the total combined value of everything we've talked about so far is $11,075. But finally, for the next 27 people to register today, we are going to give you a very special gift. We're going to give you a free VIP ticket to our next Killer Influence 2022 Secrets of Covert Hypnosis live 4-day certification boot camp. This is your chance to get in a room with me and some very cool people who like to do cool stuff and not only learn the materials, have them installed in you, practice them, get feedback, and have probably one of the best times you're ever going to have at a training. It's going to be held in Orlando, Florida at the Rosen Plaza Hotel, April 27th through the 30th. You get to come in absolutely free. Right? Absolutely free. It's a $2,250 value. All you got to do to claim yours is be one of the next 27 people to click that link, and you get added to our special database of VIP ticket members. You go right to the front of the class, right to the front row, and you can learn this stuff from me in person. You can have me observe you. You can have me teach you. You can have me give you feedback, pointers, help you through the sticking points. You get the personal attention that you deserve to have. Right? I've said this before, I will say it again. I love our video courses. I love our video programs. Nothing puts this stuff into you like a live event. For those of you who are veterans of Planet David, tell these people the difference between the live event and the video program. Just your experiences. Just let them have it. Okay? Fran says, do the live courses if you possibly can. They are life-changing. Yes, they are. All you need to do to claim your ticket right now is go to $13,325 value. Again, this is going to teach you the 4 days of hands-on training, how to control your emotional state at will, how to emanate charisma on command, make people like, love, and trust you, hypnotize people during normal conversations, and read anyone instantly, detect lies, so much more. All you got to do to get yours is go to www.killerinfluence.com/go. Once again, to recap, the Secrets of Human Influence Home Study Course, $2,479 value. It's going to include that Killer Influence Mind Control Manifesto Home Study Course and access to the online training community. We're going to include the Weapons of Mass Instruction Home Study Course. It's a $1,997 value. We're going to give that to you absolutely free. The Objection Obliteration, that's a Renegade Reframing under Conversational Belief Change, $1,997 value. We're going to give that to you absolutely free. Charisma and Conversion, the Hypnotic Presentation Skills for Presenters and Public Speakers, $1,997 value. We're going to give that to you absolutely free. We're also going to throw in those super fast action bonuses, the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program, and the unlimited access to the 11-year archive. $1,597 value. We're going to give that to you absolutely free. We're going to include the Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course, $997 value. We're going to give it to you free. And finally, for those of you who are really serious about taking your life to the next level, we're going to give you that special Killer Influence VIP Super Ticket free access to our 4-day live certification boot camp, live in Orlando, Florida, April 27th through the 30th. It's a $2,250 value. Total package value is $13,325. Okay, you can get it all for one low installment, one low investment. Remember, an investment pays you money as you reap it. Okay, total value, total purchase today is $997, or you can break that up into 3 easy payments of just $397 to get you started. If you have questions, you can reach out to Stephanie at the following information. Remember that usually when we get to this part of the webinar, Stephanie's phone is inundated with calls. If you get her voicemail, please, please, please leave your contact information. If you leave your contact information, you will qualify for the bonuses. If you call and you do not leave a message, you will not qualify for the bonuses. Okay? We want you to be in. Yeah, Royce is coming in. So again, this is probably one of the best packages that we offer. This is designed to supplement your training. When you go to that live event and you go home and you start going through these individual video courses, it will drive and cement home everything you learned in the live event. You will see things you never would have seen any other way. This is one of the most powerful, most easy ways to get your life on track. And we'll be right there, right alongside you, Penny, the entire way to make sure this works for you. Okay? Our goal, we give you the live event ticket, is so that you know you're supported. You know you're going to get the attention and the feedback and the follow-up that you need. Stephanie and I are always available, either by email, by phone. If you have a question, you have a problem, pick up the phone, give us a call. Do the courses. Apply them for 60 days. If you're not getting the results you want, let Stephanie know. We'll refund your money. Okay? So that being said, we're going to go ahead and take a 7-minute break. Time enough for you guys to process your orders. Let Stephanie know if you have any questions. Right? And by the way, a couple of things you should know about our VIP super tickets is they don't expire. So let's say you buy this program, but you can't make the live training in Orlando in April. Well, that's fine. All you do is pick up the phone, let Stephanie know the next time we do Killer Influence, we will put you at the head of the line. If you can't make it, but you have somebody who would like to go in your place, you can transfer that ticket to them. If next year we raise the price of Killer Influence and you still have this ticket, you don't pay any extra. Okay? This ticket, you have it until you use it. As long as your name is in our database as a VIP member, you get to come to the front line. Let's say Killer Influence sells out. We run out of room. If you have one of these VIP tickets, we will find a place for you. We will make room for you. That's the beauty of the VIP ticket program. It gets you in front of the people who can actually give you the skills to get the life you want the way that you want it. All you got to do to get yours is to go to www.killerinfluence.com/go. It's www.killerinfluence.com/go. One more time with feeling, www.killerinfluence.com/go. I'm going to come back at 6 p.m. my time. It's about 7 minutes from now. And we're going to pick up where we left off with the emotional bonding checklist. We're going to go deeper into customizing the rest of today's content to what you want to learn most about. So I'll give you some options when we get back. In the meantime, please, please, please click that link, click that link, click that link. Get your seat reserved. Get out to that Killer Influence in Orlando. Orlando's a fun town. You don't even need to wear masks. It's kind of cool, right? Come on out and let's have some fun. All right. We'll see you in about 7 minutes. All right, guys, I'm back a little bit early. I got done with my business pretty quick. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to you post them in the chat. I'm happy to answer them while we're still on break. When we're done with the break, we're going to go ahead and we're going to pick up teaching. We're going to give you more techniques, more skills, more tools, so that you can begin to put these things into practice. Now, let me go to chat here really quick. So Dr. Davis says, how to deal with mood swings. The fastest way to deal with mood swings is through controlling your posture and your breathing. And we will actually teach you how to do that in the posture breathing. Now, the other way to do it, but I recommend posture and breathing first before you do anything else. The other way to do it that works really, really well is a process we call color breathing. Color breathing is really, really good at dissolving negative emotional states, right? So I think we have several, videos where we demonstrate color breathing. So the magic question for that is just, what do I want to feel instead? Remember, imagine what that might be like, create that mental movie, it'll generate a body feeling, turn that body feeling into a color, breathe it through the affected area, and you'll find your mood pretty much dissolving in seconds. Daniel Hassan says, I don't think my UK internet provider likes these links for some reason. Daniel, if you're having any trouble at all, reach out to Stephanie at 858-282-4663, and we'll go ahead and make sure that you're taken care of. I think you've bought from us before, so we should have your file available. What else? So Carla's asking, can you please give a short description of the emotional bonding checklist? Absolutely. In fact, we're going to be, when we come back from our break in about a minute, that's actually where we're going to go next in terms of content. So just stay tuned. Anybody else, really quick? Super curious about Omega stories. Omega stories are cool. In fact, I did at the ICBCH. Let me jump out of my screen to my screen really quick. At the ICBCH convention last week in Orlando, I did a 2-hour breakout on storywork, and I posted a segment of that training on the YouTube channel. So if you're curious about what's inside one of those bonuses, this Weapons of Social Mass Instruction, the Social or Science of Storytelling bonus, you can go look at that video and see a piece. Yeah, you can go to that video and see part of what, you'll get the entire training, but that's a segment. I couldn't give them the hands-on at the convention because they only gave me a 2-hour slot. But you get the whole hands-on in the video. You also get the hands-on at the Killer Influence 4-day boot camp. So this is a really good way for you to kind of get a little sneak preview of what you're going to be getting after you purchase your course, right? So just go to www.killerinfluence.com/go. Second repetition, www.killerinfluence.com/go. www.killerinfluence.com/go. I sound like an infomercial. Anyway, back to the emotional bonding checklist. Okay, so people are asking me if I can give you a description of the emotional bonding checklist. So let's review really quickly. Everything human beings do is in response to a feeling. It's a feeling they either want more of or they want a whole lot less of. The emotional bonding checklist is a process, or let me backtrack. The checklist is the way that your nervous system decides when to have a certain feeling. So let me give you an example. Let's say that I want to be in a relationship. Anybody here want to be in a relationship? Or like to have improve their relationship? Type in the chat if you'd like to improve your relationship. Okay. So one of the things that you do with the emotional bonding checklist is you ask somebody. You say, so I'm curious, just so I understand you better, what's important to you about the ideal relationship? Now notice what I said here, the ideal relationship. What do you absolutely have to have in that relationship to be happy, fulfilled, and satisfied? All emotional bonding checklists are context dependent. Let me say that again. All emotional bonding checklists are context dependent. For everything that you can conceive of, your neurology will generate an emotional bonding checklist for that thing. So let's say you're 20 years old, right? And most 20-year-olds that I've met have never even thought about life insurance. Yet, if you were to ask that 20-year-old, what's important about life insurance? They would instantly give you a list of things. Follow me so far? That list of things is their value, and their emotional value, right? Now, sometimes they're going to give you the name of a value, but they'll give you little to no idea of how to fulfill it. So, going back to our relationship example, I go to person A and I say, what's important to you about a relationship? What do you absolutely have to have in a relationship to feel happy, satisfied, and fulfilled? Person A says, well, that's easy. I need to be respected. I know that if I know you respect me, then it's easier for me to feel happy and satisfied and important in that relationship. Person B says, you know what? I agree. Respect is important for me too. I absolutely have to have respect in a relationship. Person A says, really? Well, I'm curious. How do you know when you're getting respect in a relationship? Person B says, well, that's easy. I know you respect me when you think about what you're going to say before you say it. Now, you tell me the truth, and you don't hold the truth back, but you say it in a way that preserves my feelings, and doesn't make me feel like I'm an idiot or belittles me or reduces my self-esteem in a way. That's how I know you respect me. So, how do you respect? How do you know when you're getting respect? Person A says, oh, well, that's easy. I know you respect me when you tell me the truth, regardless of whether it's going to hurt my feelings, regardless of whether it might make me feel like a fucking idiot or not. That's how I know you respect me. You just tell me the truth. You don't hold anything back. Now, what do you think happens when these two people get in an argument or to have a disagreement? What do you think is going to happen? Type it in the chat. What do you think is going to happen? Major conflict or stalemate. Truth hurts. Right? Butt heads. Right. But why? Again, this is a class, remember? Why are they butting heads? They both have the same value. Respect. Right? They both have the same value. Why are these people getting in an argument? Any idea? Pretty easy, pretty simple to figure out, right? The rules that they use that tell them they're being respected are different. Person B, Person B needs diplomacy. They need tact. They need care and compassion. Person B, give it to me raw, baby. Tell it like it is. Right? The rule is the criteria. They can't have the feeling of respect. The body won't release or activate or stimulate that feeling of respect that is what is right and true in their world until that criteria is satisfied. And this is why there's one more question that we need to know about if we're going to use the emotional bonding checklist. And that question is, how do you know? How do you know when you're being respected? How do you know that this house is the right house for you? How do you know that this policy is the right policy for you to have? And what's important about that? Because until you know what a person's criteria is, what the checklist is, you don't know how to match it. You following me so far? So if you think of criterion values, or the emotional bonding checklist, has 3 parts. You have the checklist. When those checklist elements are satisfied, the body generates a feeling, and we give that feeling a name. In the case of our example with our 2 prospective relationship people, the name of the value was respect. The feeling was probably very similar, but the checklist, how they go about triggering the body to stimulate it, is different. So the 2 questions when you're going to do emotional bonding with people are, A, what's important about? How do you know? How do you know when you've got it, right? And doesn't that question sound a little familiar? Didn't we start the webinar with this idea of knowing your outcome, knowing what you want to achieve, right? Same thing. Here's the secret to this. Anytime you can conceive of something, your neurology will automatically generate a checklist, even if it's something you never thought you wanted, right? If you go to a 20-year-old and say, what's important to you about life insurance? They're going to tell you what's important to them about life insurance, even though in their brief 20 years on this planet, they have never even thought about buying life insurance. And you know what's funny? Is when you actually talk about the life insurance using their words, it will go right to the core of who they are. Now, what's the actual technique? When you've elicited somebody's checklist, when you've elicited somebody's value, you only talk about the aspect of your product or your service that directly satisfies that value, and you use their words to do it. You use their words to do it. So let's say I'm selling. I'm a realtor. I'm selling real estate, right? And I'm interviewing a client that I'm going to show houses to. And I might say to that client, so Mrs. Jones, I'm curious, just so I can make sure that you have the best experience possible and we get you the perfect house. I'm curious about something. What for you makes the perfect house? What do you absolutely have to have in your ideal home? Mrs. Jones says, well, you know, that's a great question. First of all, it's got to have a really big kitchen. It's got to be close to good schools. And it's got to have a big backyard so my kids can play. Ah, okay. So I'm curious about something, Mrs. Jones. Just so I understand you better, what's important to you about that big old kitchen? How big is big? Is it 10 feet, 20 feet? Well, the kitchen I had in mind was around, 15, 20 feet by 15, 20 feet. That's kind of the house I grew up in. Oh, it's the house you grew up in. So I'm curious, when you think about that big kitchen, it's 15 or 20 feet, like the house you grew up in. I'm curious, what's important to you about that? Well, that's easy. When I was growing up, my mom, we had this really big kitchen. We had a really big family, and every holiday, all the family would come and we'd gather around the dinner table in this big kitchen, and we'd be sharing the work and making food together and eating together. And it was just one of those times where everything was just right with the world, and the kitchen became like the center, the hub of our family, and everything rotated around it. And I want to share that with my kids. I want to have that feeling, and I want to have those big gatherings like I used to. Oh, I get it. So when you were growing up, the kitchen was like, you had a big family. The kitchen was the center of all the activity. Everybody would get together and they'd cook and they'd share food and they'd eat together, and it was like a time of really strong connection. Mrs. Jones, I think you're gonna really, really like what I'm about to say to you next. Off the top of my head, I can think of at least 4 homes right now that have a massive kitchen exactly like what you're describing, so that when you decide which one you want, you can, without a doubt, bring all of your family together, help make that food, share dinner together, and have the center of your family life that you had growing up, that you can share with those children. How soon would you like to go and start checking off some boxes and looking at some houses? Can we go now? Right? Now, what did I do? What did I for sure echoed them, right? Notice how I used my words to link what I was offering to what they wanted. Off the top of my head, I can think of 4 houses right now that have this massive kitchen that will give you that experience that you would want to have. And when you see them, you're going to be amazed, because you're going to be, realize the opportunity to have that family gather, to get together and make food together and to eat together and to commune and have that house be that kitchen be the center of your family. I put them in it, using their words. Now here's what happens. The longer you do that, the more they will tend to take the next step with you that you want them to take by default. Okay? The secret is, don't get creative. If you have, one of the problems with sales especially is that we're taught this idea of features and benefits. You have a list of all these features and benefits, and you just keep throwing them out there hoping something sticks. Right? No. This is not features and benefits selling. This is a relationship presentation. You're creating a relationship with people. You're finding out what is the most emotionally desirable thing in their world, and you're showing them exactly that. Don't show them anything else. In other words, especially like people who are like well-trained salespeople, and a lot of them do this automatically. They don't realize they're doing it consciously. One of the problems is if you're trained in that features and benefits approach, and you hit one or two things, you'll think to myself, oh, if they love that, they'll really love this. And what you will see is as you start to veer away from the things they said specifically, the lights will go off. You'll see them just start to lose interest. Their pupils will start to constrict. They'll start to maybe even give you unconscious head nods that they're not into it. The fastest way to break up a sale, to destroy a sale using this method, is to talk about anything other than what came out of their mouth. Period. Now, brings us to the next piece. You're not really selling when you're doing this. You are finding out what they want, the way they know they're getting it, and making a decision about whether you can fulfill that or not. You're evaluating their needs and wants, comparing it to what you offer, to see if there's a fit. If there's a fit, keep going. If it's not a fit, tell them the truth. Okay? The thing you can just understand about the emotional bonding process, the emotional bonding checklist, is that they're built out of a person's value system. A person's value system is the milestone, the measuring stick by which they decide what's right, true, good, and desirable in their world. The long and short of it is a person cannot go against their deeply held criteria and values without experiencing emotional pain. Consequently, or conversely, they can't talk about their criteria or values without experiencing desire, connection, and pleasure. Okay? Once you understand that, you now have the power to link things to people that are not in their best interests. I'm going to recommend that you do not do that. I'm going to suggest very, very strongly that it's never necessary to do that. You will go further, faster. You'll have people loving you and being tremendously loyal to you if all you do is find out what they want, how they know you're getting it, deciding if you can fulfill it, and then fulfilling it in exactly the way that they've explained it to you. They will bond to you and create such intense loyalty. And by the way, I'm using sales as an example. It's not just sales. It's networking. It's love affairs, children, team building, sports. If you can conceive of it, you can use this process to facilitate massive motivation, inspiration, drive, and desire. When you were doing your emotional checklist, did you feel inspired? Did you feel motivated? Did you have a desire grow within you? Type what you experienced when you felt that desire to get this, or you get those things. What did you notice? You felt grateful, right? That's what you now have the power to do. Because once you understand how to hit the persuasion bullseye, you can do this with anyone, anytime, anywhere, and bond whatever you want them to do to whatever they want. And as long as you keep them bonded to it, they will do it for their own selfish reasons, and they will feel grateful to you for doing it. Do you understand the difference? We're not pressuring people. We're not deceiving people. We're just in a simple, clear, easy to understand way that makes them feel tremendously validated. We're finding out what they want, finding out how they know they're getting it, and giving it to them. Is that fair? Is that a win-win? What do you think? In the chat, guys. Always, right? Cool. All right. So, here's my question for you now. What do you want to learn about next? What do you want to learn about next? I told you this would be your webinar, did I not? What do you want to learn about next? Defense? Strengthening? Body language? Okay, well this will be a mega story. So many things, right? What are the options? Well, I usually offer 3 options. Okay, I usually can talk about the resistance removal formula. I can talk about 3 magic questions protocol, or I'll put a third one in there. What do you guys want to know about that I haven't mentioned? How to flirt, face reading, resistance removal is fun, 3MQ. I see that. Interview crusher. Okay. How to generate more pleasure states, 3MQ. Okay, I think 3MQ and resistance removal are kind of neck and neck here. Okay. All right. So for those of you interested in the interview crusher, the criteria and values stuff that I just did was the interview crusher. Now let me explain to you how you apply this in an interview. Okay. Remember that every time you go, let me pull up my chair here real quick. Remember that every time you go in for an interview, you're usually not the only one that's interviewing for that particular job, right? So the question becomes, how do you separate yourself from the pack? Well, there's a certain point in the interview, right? You've done your introduction, they've gone through your resume, they've gone through your work history, the interviewer has defined the job description, what the job requires, things of that nature. And every interview, there is one point right before the conclusion of the interview. The interviewer is going to look at you and they're going to say, so, John, before we terminate the interview today, do you have any questions for me that I can answer for you? That is your opening. You set the context, you ask the 3 questions. Mr. Employer, just so I understand you better, jobs are kind of like a relationship. A corporation and an employee-employee relationship, it's important. It's important that there be a proper fit. And I want to make sure that as I'm working for you, that I am giving you exactly what you need from the ideal person for this job. So I'm wondering if I could ask you a question. When you think about the perfect person for this job, what's important to you about the perfect person for this job? What attributes or qualities do they absolutely have to have that you can have absolute faith and confidence in their ability to do the work the way you want to do it? I'm curious, what might that be? They're going to give you a list of things. You know what you're going to do? You're going to listen. You're going to pay attention. You're going to validate what they said. You're going to echo what they said. You're going to ask your next question. You know what that next question is going to be? So I'm curious. So maybe your employer says, well, I need somebody who's really a problem solver, someone who's a self-starter who can go out, look at a situation, take charge, and get things handled without me having to look over their shoulder and micromanaging them all the time. And you might say, you know what? I 100% agree. I think jobs like this, positions like this, need somebody who is an expert at solving problems, can be a true problem solver, can take charge and get things done without need to have somebody look over their shoulder or micromanage them. And just so I understand you better, because micromanaging and self-starting means different things to different people. Just so I understand you better, how do you know when someone's a self-starter? How do you know when they're the kind of troubleshooter that you're looking for? And they're going to give you a list of things. And then depending on what the information is they give you. You're either going to ask, how do you know, again, or you're going to ask, what's important about that? What's important to you about somebody who knows how to be a self-starter and is a good troubleshooter? Well, I know that the job's going to get handled. I know things are going to get done right. If there's any flies in the ointment, if there's anything that needs fixing, it's going to get handled. I'm not going to have to be pulled away from the other jobs that I have because this person needs constant supervision. Right? You know what, sir? 100% agree. In all my jobs, people have prided me on my ability to take charge, to look at a situation, come up with a solution, and implement it so that the people who are above me, the people who are guiding me or managing me, didn't have to be distracted or taken away from the things that were important to them, their other job duties. And as a part of your team, you're going to see from X and Y and Z how my ability to solve those problems and to troubleshoot those problems and to be a self-starter will absolutely give you the peace of mind that you need to focus on I'm going to make you look good, and I'm going to make sure that this project runs as smooth as humanly possible because I am a self-starter. And you're going to see that. Right? Thinking about it like that, how soon would you like me to get started? Make sense? Now, the other thing you can do is if you go to your resume now, remember, we're assuming by now when you've reached this point in the conversation that you've already gone through the resume bit, the work history stuff. Once you know a person's criteria and values, their emotional bonding checklist for the ideal employee, now you go back to your work history. You go back to your activities on your curriculum vitae or your resume, and you talk about how the things in that CV that directly satisfy what they gave you, and you use their words to do it. And you do it in such a way that it links ongoing relationships. When you've reached the point where they're all salivating for you, all you got to do is, how soon do you want me to get started? Or what's the next step we need to take to move forward, sir? That's it. Does that make sense? And by the way, you can use this exact same process to get jobs you're not fucking qualified for without ever telling a lie. Okay? Don't believe me. How many of you, by the way, my veterans out there, how many of you have used this to get a job? I know there are at least 3 or 4 of you out there have used this to get a job. Liam says he's used it to get a job. Is Cynthia here? Okay. All right. So before we move on, so for my next trick, we're going to talk about the resistance. John uses it to leave a toxic job. What is the female equivalent of sir? Ma'am, madam, sounds wrong. You know, that's an interesting question. We live in a time when pronouns are a problem, right? And so here's what I would do. However they introduce themselves to you, that's how you close. So if they say, "Hey, I'm Mrs. Jones," or "I'm Ava," or "I'm Miss Smith" or "Miss Johnson," that's what you close with. Here's the secret. Whatever comes out of their mouth is what you use. Right? That's the secret. If it comes out of their mouth, it's sacred. Nancy says, how do you get someone to stop bullying you? Start by echoing them. Because if you start echoing them, they will start to like you. And it's harder to beat up somebody you like. See, one of the things about bullies, and it's kind of counterintuitive, is that a lot of bullies resort to bullying because they want to be liked or respected. And they think that by doing that, they're showing they're strong and they're tough and that they're someone to look up to. When you actually give them the feelings of actually being liked, they don't want to screw that up. But don't believe me, test it out and see what happens. Right? It'll be harder for somebody to pick on you if you actually echo their words back. Okay. Okay. Perfect. All right. So for our next piece, we're going to talk about resistance removal. And this is a protocol that is really, really useful You can actually use this in the interview crusher technique as well. Penny says, not if they say you're a useless freak, can't see how that would help. Well, you might say, how specifically am I a useless freak? Right? Again, it's about using the words, not necessarily agreeing with the sentiment. Right? It's not that I'm a useless freak, it's just that you think I'm freaking useless. Let me show you how that's wrong. Right? Different ways you can do things. Right? But you're going to go farther, faster, echoing their words, than you're ever going to be. All right, I'll tell you really. All right, for Penny's sake, I'm going to tell you another story. All right, this was a story that I first heard from Kenrick, Cleveland, back in the day. There once upon a time, Kenrick was working in a gym, and back in the 90s, I guess the 80s or 90s, I forget exactly when it was, you had these membership cards. You had to slide your membership card, right? And one day he's working the front desk, and out of the men's room comes this super roided out bodybuilder. He comes in, he's raging. He walks up to Kenrick at the front of the desk. He goes, "God damn it! There is no toilet paper in the men's room." And Kenrick's like, what do I do? And his training came in. His NLP training came up. And he looked at him and he said, "God damn it! There is no toilet paper in the men's room. You are a paying customer. You're a championship bodybuilder. You're here as a role model for everybody. You deserve to have toilet paper in the men's room. This is unforgivable. This is unacceptable." The bodybuilder goes, "Oh man, calm down." And from that moment on, they were friends. Several weeks later, Kenrick's working the front door. Another bodybuilder comes in. Kenrick asks him for his membership card. Guy doesn't have it. Kenrick doesn't want to let him in. Guy starts getting mad. Gets so mad, in fact, he reaches across the desk, grabs Kenrick by the throat, and a second after this guy reached across to grab Kenrick by the throat, another hand comes out of nowhere, grabs him by the throat. And it's the big guy from the previous scene. He goes, "That's my friend. You leave him alone." He goes, "Oh man, I'm sorry, I didn't know." Okay? That's the power of echo and rapport. It's counterintuitive. You don't get mad at the person. You get mad at the same thing they're angry at. And you do it more. Yeah, we have an autofocus function on the software I used to run my camera. So, right. That was not my story. I heard it from one of my by proxy mentors at the time. But I've used variations of that behavior in interactions to completely dissolve and diffuse people who are angry. One thing you got to remember, when people are angry, one of the things that they didn't know, one of the things that they're looking for that they didn't know they were looking for is an ally, a friend. Someone to walk beside them. When you verbally echo them, you're signaling sameness. You're signaling, I'm on your side. I believe what you believe. And people don't want to give that up. But you've got to have emotional control and understand vectors and what I call emotional vectors. What I mean is, what are they angry about? What are they sad about? What are they happy about? You get happy about those things too. You get sad about those things too. And then you do it more. And then what happens is, what started as two people doing this, all of a sudden you're doing this, and before you know it, you're doing this. And you're together. And then you can lead them wherever you want to go from within that interaction. Is there something to say or do to get someone to tell you? Lots of things you can do. A lot of it is context dependent. I have whole courses on lie detection and getting the truth and things like that. Great book, by the way, for those of you who want to not just detect lies, but actually get people to tell you the truth. There's a book called Get the Truth by a guy named Jack Schaefer. Jack Schaefer is a former retired FBI agent, counterespionage, that kind of stuff. And so he's got some really good ways to create deep connections with people and get them to want to tell you the truth, right? We have courses, we teach you about that stuff in Killer Influence. Defense Against the Dark Arts. We have a second killer influence class called Defense Against the Dark Arts. We cover all that stuff on how to deal with social predators and things like that. Antonio, how do you get someone to respond that ignores you? Echo them. Guys, believe me, I gave you the nuclear-powered thing first. Jack Schaefer, Orlando. The book is called Get the Truth by Jack Schaefer. Echo technique gives you so much power, so much bang for your buck. It can open so many doors that would be closed any other way. It's ridiculous. It shouldn't be this powerful, but it is. Could resistance removal be used when someone is mad or upset? Yes. But only because you have to have rapport first. Can resistance removal be used for seduction? Yes. Echo technique really works, especially when someone is upset. Yes. Absolutely, 100%. What 6 patterns does the echo technique combine? A, primary strategy, lead modality, primary modality, criteria and values, convincer strategy, and meta programs. For those of you who are neurolinguistic nerds, that should give you a little bit of wood, right? All right, so let's review really quick what we've got here before we go on to the next piece. Let's go ahead and review what this amazingly cool offer is. And everything I'm teaching you, by the way, is in these is in this program, the Secrets of Human Influence Ultra Persuasion Mastery Program, right? So what you're going to get: Secrets of Human Influence Home Study Course, valued at $2,479. You're going to get Weapons of Mass Instructions, Scientific Storytelling Secrets, $1,997. You're going to get Renegade Reframing and Objection Obliteration, Conversational Belief Change, $1,997 value. We're going to give that to you absolutely free. You're going to get Charisma and Conversion, $1,997 value, absolutely free. And of course, the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Super Pack, $1,597, absolutely free. We're also going to include the Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course for $997. And of course, the Killer Influence VIP Super Ticket gets you a free pass to our 4-day live certification intensive in Orlando, Florida. Keep in mind that when I log off the webinar, the fast action bonuses go away. So you can still have until 11:59 p.m. tonight to get Secrets of Human Influence, Weapons of Mass Destruction, Objection Obliteration, Charisma and Conversion. But the rest of these videos, including that VIP Super Ticket, when I log off the webinar, they're off the table. So if you are on the fence, remember, everything comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, just give us a call, and we'll do what we can to make things right. Just be cool about it. Don't cash in your super ticket and then ask for a refund. That would be uncool, right? So, but most people are not that way. Okay. Nathan says CPI 3 is mind-blowing. Just use Model of the World to close a sale. Boom. See? Right? So you guys ready for the resistance removal protocol? Is that where you guys want to go next? Okay. All right. So, ironically, the resistance removal protocol is something that I adapted. Is something I adapted from a book called Instant Influence by Michael Pantalon, and I recommend you get that book. I've actually used this protocol I've actually used it to actually talk people out of being in pain. So, lest you think you can only use it for motivation, no. You can actually use this to activate the pain control centers in a person's brain and make their pain go away. In fact, if you want to see that in action, there's a short video called Instant Conversational Pain Relief. You'll actually see me use this protocol to get somebody to be in pain, right? So the primary thing that you want to do, and the most important thing that you have to do, believe it or not, when you're using resistance removal protocol, is you have to give the person permission to disagree with you, to not want to do the thing that they just said they didn't want to do. And the reason for that is you have to restore a person's sense of autonomy, their freedom of choice without being judged. If you don't do that satisfactorily at the beginning, they will paint everything you say as manipulation. They will not see you as an ally. So you have to absolutely make sure that they know that you're on their side. So I'll give you an example from the ChangeWorks system that I do. Let's say you have somebody that's coming in to quit smoking. Now, I don't get a lot of that in my business. I get a lot of pain control, chronic illness, terminal illness, things of that nature. That's what I deal with almost exclusively clinically. Although I get social anxiety, dating and seduction, and all that other stuff. But really, when people come to me, they're coming to me because the doctor has said, you got so long to live, if you don't fix this, it's going away, right? Or you're going away, or it's just going to get worse. And so I deal with a lot of chronic pain, a lot of terminal illness, a lot of chronic illness. So one of the first things that has to happen when somebody comes into you for something like smoke cessation, 9 times out of 10, when they walk in your door, they're not there because they want to be there. They're there because somebody in their family, somebody they're close to, wants them to be there. They want to please that other person. So they're already feeling beat up, right? And so the first thing that has to happen is you have to flip the script on that. You have to get them to a place where they realize that if they don't want to change, they don't have to, that you'll support them in that. And so one of the things I say to clients when they come in, or prospective clients when they come in, I say, look, I get that you're here, like, why do you want to quit smoking? And a person might say, well, you know, my wife is just giving me shit about it all the time. She says my clothes smell like an ashtray. It's like kissing an ashtray. You know, I'm spending way too much money on cigarettes, and she just thinks that I'd live longer and I'd be healthier if I just stopped smoking. So I need you to make me stop smoking. That's always a red flag. When they say, I need you to make me do something, they don't want to be there. And so I look at them and I say, oh, so you're here because your wife wants you to be here, because, you know, she says you smell like an ashtray, it's like kissing an ashtray, you're spending too much money on cigarettes. Yeah, that's why I'm here. Well, I want to tell you something, and I mean this with all sincerity. I don't care what your wife wants. Okay? Because I'm not here for her. I'm here for you. You're the one that came to see me. And I'm your advocate. I am your guide. I am the person who's going to help you get what you want. And so if you want to quit smoking, I'll help you do that. But if you don't want to quit smoking, I'll help you do that too. And here's what I mean. If you want to come in and just be entranced in the chair for an hour, go home and tell your wife, it didn't work, I'll help you do that. If you don't want to work with me at all, I'm okay with that too. Right? If you want me to help you enjoy smoking more, I'll help you do that. Because I'm here for you. Not your wife, not your mom, not your kids, not your siblings, you. What is it you want? Well, I'm not sure. Well, let me ask you a question. If you were to decide to quit smoking, to choose to quit smoking for your own reasons, not your wife's, not your kids, not your mom's, your reasons, why might you want to quit smoking? By the way, the most important word in that sentence is might. Why might you want to quit smoking? Well, you know, to be honest, it's been getting harder to breathe lately. And I could really, you know, my wife wants me to go hiking and do all these things, and my kids want me to play with them. And I'm starting to feel my age, and I think the smoking could, you know, be impacting that. Oh, so you're having a little trouble breathing. Your wife wants you to go hiking, and you're starting to feel your age a little bit, and your kids want you to play with them. Okay, we can work with that. So I'm curious, just so I understand you better, on a scale of 0 to 10, how much might you want to play with your kids? How much might you want to go hiking with your wife? How much might you want to stop feeling the effects of age? Oh man, 7 or 8 at least. Wow, 7 or 8. Huh. So I'm curious, just so I understand you better, why did you rate that so high? Why so much? Why didn't you rate it less? What? Why didn't you rate it less? Well, because I want to live. I want to enjoy my life. I want my kids to be able to spend time with my kids. I want my wife to, I want to reconnect with my wife, and we haven't been able to because, she wants to hike and I have trouble. Oh. So what's the next step we need to take, if any, for you to reconnect with your wife and get you to spend more time with your kids? Well, I guess we need to get me off the cigarettes. How soon do you want to get started? Whatever they say after that, you do. And that's the whole process. So you restore personal autonomy. You ask them why they might want to quit. Why might they want to quit? The minute they give you an answer, guess what you do? Master echo sequence. You pay attention, you validate, you echo, you ask the next question. What's the next question? So I'm curious, just so I understand you better, on a scale of 0 to 10, how much might you want to do that? And here's the thing. It does not matter what number they give you. It does not matter what number they give you. The moment they give you the number, the next thing you say is, oh, wow, 7 or 8. Why so much? Why didn't you rate that less? And they're going to go, what? Because they're expecting you to come at them with, well, why didn't you rate that more? Why don't you want that more? But that's not what you ask. You ask, why didn't you rate it less? Why do you want this so much? And they're going to give you a reason why they want it so much. The moment they give you the reason why they want it so much, they are now ready to take an action. The way you move them into the next phase, you can say one of two things, or both. I'm curious, what step do we need to take, if any, to move that forward? Or you say, how soon do you want to get started? And they will tell you. And whatever they tell you is exactly what you do. And they will just go. Okay? So, restore personal autonomy. Generate their own reason for wanting to do it. Attack the reason they gave you. And what's the next step we need to take, if any? Okay? And you can use, I've used this on pain. I've used this on people who are having trouble getting over a breakup. Right? It's powerful. And if you get the book Instant Influence, you'll have a lot more stuff to work with. Does that make sense? So, shall we play a little bit? I want you to think, let's stop for a moment and understand that we're going to do this as a group exercise, just so you guys can feel it. And because I'm a manipulative SOB, right? So think about all the reasons you have for wanting, to get the Secrets of Human Influence program. Think of any reasons why you might still be on the fence, right? And understand that I don't want you to get this program for my reasons. I don't want you to get it for your wife's reasons or your husband's reasons or whatever reasons other people are forcing you to get it. I want you to get it for your reasons, right? So if you were to choose to do this, and if you don't want to, that's perfectly okay. Everything in this program is worth it at full price. But if you were to want to do this, grab this program, get that VIP ticket for your own reasons. Play with me, okay? Why might you want to do that? And especially if you haven't already done it, do this, right? Whatever that reason is, speak it out loud, right? And so I'm curious about something as you hear my voice repeating what you just said. On a scale of 0 to 10, how much might you want to do that? For your reasons, not mine, for yours. How much might you want to do that? And then when you get that number, whatever it is, tell me something. Why do you want it so much? Why didn't you rate it less? And speak it out loud. Speak your reason out. Why didn't you rate it less? So for those reasons, what's the next step you need to take to get those things, to move that forward in your way, that you feel good about it? How soon do you want to get started? Click the link. Now, quick question for you. When I asked you to rate the intensity, what was your, just for grins and giggles, type the number you came up with in the chat. 8, okay. 8. 8. Okay, cool, a lot of 8s. When I said, why so much? Why didn't you rate it less? What happened to the number? What happened to your desire? Did it go up or did it go down? More desire? It didn't go down, absolutely. Here's the secret. The rationale, the rationalization, it went up, actually went up, yes. Right? And by the way, you knew what I was doing. True, not true. You knew exactly what I was doing, right? And it still happened. Now, that's an artificial situation. Who in their right mind is going to go up to them and say, I am going to tell you something, I want you to resist it, and you're going to feel good about doing it anyway? Who the hell is going to do that? Right? Imagine what you learned at the live event. Anyway, here's what's going on. When your neurology, your brain, your neocortex creates a rationalization for doing something, anytime you attack that rationalization, the neurology digs its heels in and pushes back. You get reactants, psychological reactants. What this particular technique does is it activates psychological reactants in the direction of change, not in the direction of refusing or repelling change. So the moment you ask them to generate a reason and then you have them rate it and then you attack it, they put up their walls and push back, and when they push back, their desire to do it goes up. And it shifts them from resisting you to wanting to get what they said they wanted. Boom. Sleight of mind. Right? Now make sure that when you get them to do this, that you can actually fulfill the ask. Right? Does that make sense? All right. Yep, I'm still watching this too. All right. So, Ethereal Victims asked about rapid weight loss techniques. This resistance removal protocol is actually really useful for weight loss programs. Really, really actually good, because it can tap into a person's deep emotional needs for getting on that program and staying on it. Now, Jeffrey Turnbull says, you are a gentle badass. Well, I want to turn you all into gentle badasses. I want you guys to all be epitomes of badassery at the highest level of persuasion abilities. I want you to have the life you want the way that you want it. These skills have given me everything. Everything that I enjoy in this life is a result in some way, a byproduct of these skills. And I want to share that with you. I don't want just the elite persuaders and government officials and media moguls to be the only ones who have this, because there's room for everybody to win. There's lots of ways to protect yourself and get everything you want and make everybody a winner if you apply them properly. Right? Now there will always be the darksiders, right? The evil Jedi, the Sith of the persuasion world, and you need to know how to protect yourself against those two. And that's another benefit of having these particular programs at your beck and call and at your disposal. Resistance technique to help someone remove negative thoughts. Point to where you feel it, reach out and touch it. Magic frame. Simple, easy to do. Carla says, I have become the total opposite and I am so going to change my life with this. Boom. Good for you, Carla. All right. So we're coming into the home stretch. For those of you who may have joined us at the last minute, just a really quick reminder, we're coming up on our last call. This is our Secrets of Human Influence Ultra Persuasion Mastery Home Study Course. It comes with the 24-volume Secrets of Human Influence Home Study Course, valued at $2,479. The Weapons of Mass Instruction, Storytelling and Neuroscience of Narrative Storytelling Secrets program, $1,997 value. We're going to give that to you absolutely free. It's going to come with Renegade Reframing, The Art of Objection Obliteration, $1,997 value, yours absolutely free. Charisma and Conversion, again, hypnotic presentation skills for speakers and presenters, $1,997 value. We're going to give it to you free. You're going to get 3 months unlimited access to the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program and Archive. It's a $1,597 value. We're going to give that to you absolutely free. You're going to get the Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course, $997 value. We're going to give that to you absolutely free. And of course, if you really, really, really want to experience pure, unmitigated transformation, if you want to embody these skills at the deepest possible level, grab that Killer Influence VIP Super Ticket 4-day certification boot camp live April 27th to the 30th at the Rosen Plaza Hotel in Orlando, Florida. It's a $2,250 value. You get to go for free. Total package value, if you were to try to buy these things individually on the website, would be $13,325. You can get it all for one low installment of just $997, or if you need extra help, let's definitely know. We can break that into 3 easy installments of just $397. All you got to do to get yours is go to www.killerinfluence.com/go, www.killerinfluence.com/GO. It's 858-282-4663 is the phone number if you need to talk to Stephanie in person. If you have some of these courses, we can swap some out for you as long as the price is equal or lesser value. So you can customize your program a little bit. Jejun Sepungun says, I'm curious, is 3 magic questions has a long-term effect to a person specifically if you don't talk to them anymore? I think that if you've taken the time to do the 3 magic questions protocol the way that it's supposed to be done, not the 20-minute, wham bam thank you ma'am approach, but have actually taken the time to emotionally connect with another human being, this person will remember you. That's one of the beautiful things about Echo Technique, is that once you've deployed the Echo Technique and its variations or its progressions, and everything I've taught you in this webinar is a progression of the Echo Technique. You start from Echo Technique, you go into emotional bonding checklist. You start from Echo Technique, you go into a resistance removal formula. You start from Echo Technique, you can go into 3 magic questions. And you can weave in and out of all these, but intrinsic to all of those more comprehensive patterns is the Echo Technique. And once you've activated the Echo Technique, they will remember you. Because remember the old saying, people will forget what you said. People will forget what you tell them. They will never forget how you made them feel. Echo Technique allows you to give the person the exact feelings they want and need to remember you in the best way possible. So the short answer is, it absolutely can remain active for you. Okay? Now, there's all other kinds of things you can do to amplify that, and we teach that at Killer Influence. We teach that in the Secrets of Human Influence home study program. Right? You don't have to come to the live event to get those benefits. They're in all the courses that are bundled together for you today. So I recommend, if you want to understand how that works, how to do that, go to www.killerinfluence.com and click that link, get your program, because as soon as I log off, which is going to happen in about the next 5 to 10 minutes, it's off the table, right? You lose your chance at that VIP ticket. You lose your chance at the 3 months of hands-on training in the Mastermind. You lose your access to the Instant Conversational Crash Course. Remember, everything has a 60-day satisfaction guarantee. You risk nothing, and you have everything to gain, literally everything to gain, right? These techniques, I'm telling you, they paved my way through undergraduate education on writing scholarships. They named me one of the top 5 attraction experts of the year by seductionlayer.com and Art of Approaching. They've allowed me to become the number 2 NLP trainer of the year 6 years in a row. Okay, they've allowed me to just write my ticket everywhere, in my relationships, in my business life, in my marketing world, every place. They can do the same for you, but they won't help you if you don't gain access to the information, and most importantly, they won't help you if you don't do them. Everything I tell my students, and I consider you my students here as well, for everything you get from me, you're always going to pay twice. If you talk to my friend Seth, he'll tell you 3 times, but we'll stay 2. The first payment is the money. It's the tuition. That gets you access to the information. That's the easiest payment to make, because you can always make more, and if you get this course, you will make more. Right? I don't know how, but I know you will, because everything will get better. It's the second payment, though, that really, really, really makes the difference. And that second payment is not money. That second payment is time, energy, effort to do the drills, to get the skills, and apply them in the real world. That's what takes you from access to ownership. And once you own these skills, no one can take them from you. They will only get stronger, and they will serve you faithfully and consistently every time you choose to use them. Okay? Well, we're close to Miramar Air Force Base, so we got some stuff in the background, right? If you're on the fence, take advantage, grab the course, come to the trainings, do the drills, get the skills. Your life will change. I promise you. Okay? To quote the great Forrest Gump, that's about all I have to say about that, right? So once again, just to review really quickly, Secrets of Human Influence, $2,479 value. Weapons of Mass Instruction, $199.97. Going to give that to you absolutely free. Objection Obliteration, $1,997, absolutely free. Charisma and Conversion, $1,997 value. You get it free. The NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program, $1,597 value. You're going to get it free. Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Course, $997. You're going to get it free. And of course, the all super powerful Killer Influence VIP super ticket for that 4-day live certification boot camp in Orlando, Florida, $2,250 value. Yours free. Total price, if you were to try to buy these things individually, it'd be $13,325. You get it all for one low installment of $997, or you can break that up into 3 easy payments of $397. All you got to do is go to www.killerinfluence.com/go. www.killerinfluence.com/go. One last time with feeling. www.killerinfluence.com/go. In the words of the immortal Carol Burnett, I'm so glad we had this time together just to have a laugh or sing a song. Seems we just got started, and before you know it, comes the time we have to say so long. If you have questions, post them in the comments section when the replay of this video goes live. I will review those questions. I will do my best to answer them to you. Please click that link before all the good stuff goes away. I love you all. You're the reason I do what I do. I will see you on the other side. Good night.